reasoning, and you have another man, Volodymyr Zelensky, who's been extremely disrespectful on the global stage to our president, done it right so in our country in the Oval Office. And President Trump has his hands full to try to bring these two together.
To end this thing, do you think it's going to get to the point where one side actually surrenders? Because these peace talks haven't worked. Like you just said, one's a madman, one's just a crazy man. I mean, it may come down to just one of the sides having to surrender.
That's a great question, because most wars don't end by peace negotiations.
Right.
Most wars end by bringing your enemy to their knees. And if you look at most warfare and more training across the globe over the last 2,000 years, we find that the war is ended by destroying your enemy. In this era, we don't want that to happen because of the nuclear risk in that area. And there's already been millions of people injured and killed, and most of those injuries are not the soldiers on the battlefield. It's going to be the collateral damage of the elderly, the women, and the children, those that can't defend themselves. So we really, really want to bring this to an end. I, being in the war twice, am a large proponent of peace. I hate to keep bringing up the Biden-Harris administration, but I am extremely disappointed, and I hope our country never goes back to that type of government leadership in the future, because this war could have been prevented with just better foreign policy. It was less wide open, and then we actually contributed to this war by launching $186 billion in resources and providing weapons to this area, to Ukraine, to be able to fight against Russia. You know, just counterintuitive to logic and to warfare and to strategy, this was not the right way to approach this war. And you can see once the wars get started, it's extremely hard to stop the inertial forces of war, because the nation puts their sons and brothers on the battlefield. And when that blood is shed, it is so hard to pull it back. So right now, we have to find a way to bring it to an end. Donald Trump, I don't believe he's going to allow it to continue. I believe he's going to take a more advanced role and be in front and leading this thing, because right now you can see him. He's on Air Force One on TV talking about, 3,000 people a week are dying here. It's just senseless. Every week we have what happened in our country on 9/11. The amount of people that are dying in this region of the world are exactly what we lost that one day on 9/11. This is continuing to go on. It's time to end this war. It can be done, but it's going to take a superstar, a Superman, a superhuman being to be able to bring these two to the table. And I don't believe that you're going to see it play out with one nation destroying the other, because that's going to be a huge pushback for mankind if it actually plays out that way.
You mentioned that President Trump talks about people dying. Since the assassination attempt on him, which has come, the year anniversary of that is coming up next month, I think he's got a new awareness and a new empathy to being shot and being killed. I really do, because he really feels it.
I absolutely feel it. You can see when he speaks in public that he believes that this is not only his job, that this is his calling, that the Lord put him on this planet to do it. And he wholeheartedly believes, when the way he speaks, that this is what the Lord put him on earth to do. And right now, I've traveled the globe, and I've seen what people live like in other parts of the world. And then I come back to my country and I see how people don't appreciate what we have here. And people, they actually put us down and tell us how bad we are, and, how bad we are. We have to, make amends for the mistakes of our forefathers. That none of that baloney is true. And I hope your listeners can get that in their mind, understand that, and know in your heart and your soul that right now we live in the best country in the world. We are emulated by those around the globe, and we have a lot of power around the globe that we don't know we have as citizens. Our political leaders pull the strings around the globe. We are the number one economic factor in the global system, and we have the number one arsenal of weapons, and we have the strongest military right now we do around those around the world. So right now we have a lot of control and power to be able to end this war. And President Trump states, you see him on TV talking. He talks with empathy, and he talks with sincerity that he wants to bring this to an end. Because, if you just think about it, I have 6 kids. And when I see a woman carrying a child in the war zone on a battlefield, it breaks my heart. Yep. And I want it to end. We all, if you're any kind of, compassionate human being, you want these wars to end for the good of mankind. Even though you never meet these people, you're just allowing senseless death around the globe. And to me, it's not only dehumanizing, I believe it's the work of the devil. So I would love for this to end. I would love President Trump to move forward and to get involved. And I believe that's what you're going to see happen. You could see a little bit of talking coming out of the White House the last few days where he dropped a couple of notes that he was possibly going to be involved. But I believe if you put him together, the mastermind of the deal, he's written books, The Art of the Deal, that I read 30 years ago when I was just a kid. And he has just been the person that could bring these two madmen, if you will, together to try to find some common ground to at least bring a ceasefire and later end this senseless war.
All right, final thing, and then we'll let you go. I think I was going to make it do a two-part, but we don't really have time for that. But if just on the yes or no on the first part, if you think Pete Hegseth is doing a good job as the director of the defense, and the Navy, the Navy during the Biden administration had a ship that they named after San Francisco gay activist Harvey Milk.
Right.
And they're going to change that name. And of course, the
Which
left
they
is
should.
Of course. What do you think?
I, like my fellow sisters and brothers that are veterans and soldiers on active duty, and those that I talk to, that I've kept in touch with, are extreme supporters of Pete Hegseth. He is one of us. He is a warrior. He is a person that's been to 3 conflicts in his career, and he knows how to get the job done. He's someone that connects with people at the top in political leadership, and he's someone that connects even better to those on the bottom. And by the bottom, I mean the soldiers, airmen, and corpsmen on the ground getting the job done every day and advancing our country. Those are the people that do the real work for our country, not the people sitting sitting up there in the Pentagon every day. It's the people on the ground. And I was one of those kids back then in the old days, and so was Pete Hegseth. He was one of those people on the battlefield getting the job done at the bottom of the totem pole. So absolutely he's doing a good job. And when I had heard about the Navy ship being renamed, I actually got goosebumps because I know from my strategy and warfare training, war is nothing to do with gay activism. Now, whatever type of activism you want to practice, that's great. But that's not going to help our country's defense. It's not going to help propel our country forward to keep us safe. It's a bunch of shenanigans. It's a bunch of just needless nonsense that our government put into our military the last few years that completely destroyed the morale of our military, as why our recruiting was down 40%, and why several of my friends that were high leadership positions, to include a general, have exited the military, and you have lost the people that you've invested tens of millions of dollars in these people over 10, 15, 20, 30 years of training. They exited the military, and they have to start from scratch and find new people. Absolutely, he's doing a good job. If I have to give him a grade, I give him an A+. And on another note, I don't know why in the world he would want to do this job, because he has such high optics and such a bad lens put on him by the media. But that man is a gladiator to stand up and let the media beat him down, criticize his every move, and keep propelling forward to do what's good for our nation.
All right. The author of The Spirit of a True Patriot, the inspiring story of retired Captain Douglas J. Ernest. Captain, every day at 11:05 on this show. And we always say, why don't the veterans get a whole month? Well, here they do. And every day at 11:05, we always honor a veteran, living or dead. And we'd like to thank you for serving our country as well. So thank you. Yeah, Captain. I would like to say this is officially Veterans Month here at NewstalkSTL. That's right.
I appreciate you, gentlemen. I'm pretty aware of what your show does, and I greatly appreciate what you all do. And I believe it's patriots like you that keep helping our country move forward and putting out the message that Americans want to hear instead of the nonsense that the mainstream legacy media puts out. So keep up the good job, and thank you for all you do for our country and for our veterans.
Thank you for being with us, Captain. That's great.
You're very welcome, gentlemen. I'll have a great week.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Retired Captain Douglas J. Ernest. We didn't get a chance to talk too much about his book, but it's about him. Yeah. And you hear him talk. The passion, Vic. Yeah. I mean, I love that he brought up that President Trump just wants people to stop dying. Just stop dying. Stop killing people. Woosh. Woosh. Oh, it's Double Woosh Wednesday. Holy cow. So you happy now, you double wooshers? Paul Curtman. He's next to play the B or not the B on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at NewstalkSTL.
What makes the Hottentot so hot? What puts the ape in apron cuffs? What have they got that I ain't got?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
You could say that again.
On NewstalkSTL. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk. Live and local.
I need to know what's going on in my city.
NewstalkSTL. Need help navigating Medicare? The Westhoff Agency is here to assist.
Hi, I'm Debbie Westhoff with Westhoff Agency. We have helped hundreds of people just like you navigate Medicare options.
Our team of experts makes the process simple and stress-free.
Let me, Debbie Westhoff, be your personal Medicare guide, walking you through each choice to find the coverage that truly fits.
Visit westhoffagency.com for more information. That's westhoffagency.com.
Westhoff Agency is your trusted Medicare partner.
Hey, want to amaze your friends when they visit? They'll be impressed when they see your custom-made draperies, blinds, or shutters. Michael Proctor will personally help you select the correct colors to truly showcase your home. Then he will actually design, personally install everything. No overhead markup. That's going to save you money on draperies, blinds, or shutters.
Call for an appointment at your home. Spell Proctor like doctor.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. 3 big hours of great tunes from the 90s, 80s, and 70s. Plus bits and pieces that'll take you back to the best years of your past.
This week, we'll remember the great Rick Derringer, and our A-list interview is with Elton John. Plus, you'll hear our exclusive, the first 2 songs from the Billy Joel, Elton John, Busch Stadium concert from August of 1994. All brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9. On News Talk STL.
Hey, Tony Colombo here, inviting you to the Bluff City Outdoors Show Fishing Pentathlon, a one-of-a-kind multi-species fishing tournament Sunday, June 8th at Carlisle Lake. There'll be several side pots, but to win, your team has to catch all 5 species of fish with the highest total weight. This unique tournament gives fishermen of all levels a chance to walk away a winner. Get more info and reserve your spot now by going to BluffCityOutdoors.com and searching Tournament Entry, or just go to the Events tab on the Bluff City Outdoors Facebook page. The Fishing Pentathlon.
Brought to you by Great Harvest Bread Company in Maplewood and Intervine Flashlights, Lanterns, Headlamps, and more at Intervine.com.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Some of these protesters hold up signs proclaiming gays for Gaza. They might as well hold up signs saying chickens for KFC.
You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show on News Talk STL.
You know, Ken Williams runs this show with half his brain tied behind his back just to make it fair. He was on the phone with our next guest, and the intro hits the vocal right on the nose, and you're not even looking. You're just pushing, not looking. What are you doing?
I'm hearing, though.
Yeah, I know you are. All right, so I thought that Captain Ernst was just great.
I really liked him.
All right, I think it's about time to find out why we do the be or not the be, because there's been a crime. This is the city, St. Louis, Missouri. It was August 31st, 2023. It was a hot day in St. Louis. We were working day watch in the radio feature theft department. My partner's Williams. My name's Monday.
It's Friday!
Oh, right. My name's Friday. I carry a badge. We got a call from the world's smartest human, Paul Curtman. He said he got robbed. He got fried. Yep, he got fried. Our contestant, as he is once a month for the Be or Not the Be, Paul Curtman. Good morning, sir. How are you? We miss you.
Hey, good morning, Vic. Good morning, Ken. Good to be with you again.
Morning, Paul.
You pack up your stuff and move back here, young man. You hear me? We need you. Mister.
I don't know. These palm trees are pretty enticing.
All right.
Yeah,
All right. Now stop
rub
showing
it in
off.
now.
Stop showing off. All right. Are you ready to play the Be or Not the Be?
I'm ready to go.
All right. We haven't beaten Paul in quite some time.
I know.
So here we go. Headline number 1. 10 out of 10 therapists recommend rolling truck window down to let your arm get a little sun.
Not the B.
Guess what? That is the B.
Oh, man. It sounds so reasonable.
It does sound reasonable if you want just a little sun on just one arm. Tom Cruise kicking himself after learning he could have been using CGI this whole time.
The B.
That is the B. He does all his own jumps and crazy stunts.
I know.
He's like a maniac.
He's our age too.
Is he?
Yeah.
Stop it.
No, he is.
He does what, running and jumping?
Yes, he is. Don't take that away from me.
I pulled out a few weeds yesterday. I'm ready to die. All right, Paul, here we go. Your next headline. Kid does backflip on graduation stage, kicks the girl behind him in the head.
I'm going to say not the B.
That's not the B. What kind of crazy backflip was that? Okay, next headline. Hamas agrees to surrender if Europe will take Greta Thunberg back.
How dare you?
I'm going to say the B.
Yes, that's the B. All right, final headline. Secretary of Defense orders naval oiler named after gay icon to change name right at the beginning of Pride Month.
That has to, not the B.
Not the B. Just a good old, it's true, too. Hegseth's going to change the name of the USS Harvey Milk to a better, more deserving name. All right, that's all the time we have for the B or not the B.
The B or not the B.
Watch out!
How's that?
Jim!
Is that good? Is that B enough for you?
Oh, Jim.
I saw it coming.
So, Paul, we have started a new thing on the station. June is Pride Month and it's everything else month. And how many times have you heard people say, why don't veterans get a whole month? Well, this show is giving veterans the whole month because every day at 11:05 we honor a veteran who served, who's living or dead. And so we would just kind of like to give you a little honor because you served in the Marines. And so thank you for your service. Okay.
Thanks, Paul.
All right. Hey, thanks, guys. My pleasure.
So you can't come back, huh? You can't come back to the Missouri legislature because, how hard is it when you have a supermajority to not get, the personal property tax taken away, income tax taken away, the Amendment 3, the abortion thing. I think we need a fighter like you back in the Missouri legislature.
Well, Vic, they are fighting for the new
Are they
stadium
winning?
in KC.
Are they winning?
The new stadium in KC.
I can't afford a stadium. They want us to pay for a whole new stadium for the Royals and to fix up Kauffman Stadium for the and fix up Arrowhead Stadium for the Chiefs. I'm really broke. I can't do it.
You know what, guys? If it was a really good move for the economy, then there would be all the investment money available from the private sector.
Yep.
And this is what people need to understand. Whenever the private sector comes to the government and says we can't do this unless the government subsidizes it, what they're really admitting is that there's not a market for what they want to do. And if there's not a market for what you want to do as a businessman, the good business lesson is to try to find another way or find something else that gets the market, in other words, the consumers, the people, in this case, the fans, involved. When government subsidizes it, it's usually not going to equate to a good business deal for the investors, in this case, the taxpayers.
A lot of people are like, yeah, but if we have a sports team in a stadium, it helps the economy. The economy goes up. And that's not necessarily true, is it?
It's not always true. It's just not always true. We've built stadiums in St. Louis before, and we've had sports teams, and then the sports teams go away, and then we're left on the hook for all this money. And when you look at what I like to call corporate welfare in Jefferson City, there's a lot of money that gets to trade hands, and the public really needs to be paying much closer attention to it, because private sector getting in bed with the government, trying to get special favors or special laws written just for them, usually breeds corruption. You guys ought to look into transferable tax credits. These are bills, not unlike what's happening right now with this debate with Kansas City, but transferable tax credits. Usually the legislature will write a law that it is written so tightly that usually only one company even qualifies for it. And then whether or not they even have any taxes to pay, since the tax credit's transferable, they can just go sell the tax credit, and they've just made millions of dollars, whether or not they've ever developed a single building or rehabbed a single apartment complex or created any jobs. And this kind of stuff happens in Missouri, and it happens in state capitals all across the country. And so for those people in Jefferson City that are trying to fight the corporate welfare and trying to make sure that we preserve the integrity of our markets, good on them. I know we want our sports teams, but listen, financial soundness in government should definitely take the priority.
I learned when we lost the Chrysler plant that, I guess my point here too is that sports teams don't necessarily help the economy, but when the Chrysler plant closed down, I learned that for every job lost at the Chrysler plant, 4 jobs were lost in the local economy, restaurants and cleaners and, hotels and stuff. So I guess when the team leaves is really when you find out that it's not really an advantage to have a sports team or a car plant in your town.
Well, I think there's no question, right? If we have a sports team in town, there are going to be people that have jobs, right? I mean, there's people that need the jobs, whether it's somebody that's selling hot dogs in the stands, but at the very end of that whole process, you have taxpayers from all across Missouri that have to fit the bill for this. And money is like food. The more money you keep in your local economy, the stronger and more robust and vibrant the economy can actually be. But when that money is sent to the government and then the government gets to dole it out, the government's not going to make a better purchasing decision than the person who earned that money in the first place. And I would argue that if you let people make decisions with their own dollars, you're going to have a much stronger, more reliable marketplace in Missouri. And whether we have sports teams or not, we will have a stronger economy because our people will have more money, more of their own money to make their own choices with. And I think that that has played out on a micro level and a macro level, not just in Missouri, but across the country and around the world since the beginning of time.
So you're the expert guy, finance guy, Paul, and I want to get your opinion on this real quick because I watched the CBS morning show, and they're saying that they find the one person who gets all of their product from China, and then they say, "How are these tariffs affecting you?" And they say, I'm going to lose my business. Is it generally known right now that businesses are succeeding still? I mean, they're still fine. Tariffs are not tearing every business apart.
No, they're not tearing every business apart. It is true. I will say that it is true that tariffs, ultimately, the cost of the tariff does get passed on to the consumer. So the producer that's kind of in the middle, if there's any type of disruption in their business, usually it will be short term. But I think that President Trump, because, we're going to be revisiting this whole tariff issue just in about another month and a half, because that 90-day pause is going to be up. This is a great opportunity, I think, and I think that the Trump administration would really be missing such a great opportunity if they didn't also have the conversation and carry it all the way to the end, which is kind of what he hinted at when he addressed the joint chambers back in January or February. He talked about having an external revenue service instead of internal revenue service.
Yeah.
So we don't want our consumers, we don't want our taxpayers in America to ultimately pay for the tariffs as that kind of gets passed down to them, which it will, it always has. But we don't want them to also now have to pay income taxes to the federal government, because then they're getting dinged on both ends of the dollar. And historically speaking, when Donald Trump talks about how we were the most prosperous we've ever been under an era of tariffs, he's 100% right. But the other side of that discussion is at the time that we also did not have an internal revenue service. We did not have an income tax. And so I think that we need to, I think Donald Trump is doing a great job, but the conversation has to go further really in order to tie up those loose ends to really help it make sense to the American people how this could really benefit the country.
All right. One quick story, because you mentioned that people selling the hot dogs in the stadiums. I used to be a beer seller at Giant Stadium. I lived so close to the stadium that, I could do it. And the key to making money doing that, and I sold beer, not hot dogs. So the first half, everybody's kind of chill, and the beers weren't $100 a piece either. They were a lot cheaper. So you give the beer, you hand the beer, and it goes like the firemen do the hand-to-hand thing all the way to the person that wants it, and then they hand the money back. By the second half, everybody's drunk.
Yeah.
So you send the beer down, and then the money comes, and then the biggest distraction is when something happens and the crowd cheers. That's when I like, okay, thanks. No change back.
See ya.
All tip for me. That's the way you do it. Paul, very quickly, the name of your company down there.
PR Curtman Investments. You can go to prcurtman.com.
Hey, Paul, we really miss you. Thank you for serving, and we'll talk next month.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See you, Paul.
Another guy braver than me.
Yeah, we miss him here.
Big time. All right. So lots of stuff going on here at the station, including Vic for Vets. 11:05 will honor another veteran. And is the reaction good? A lot of people sending in.
They're starting to, but I really need everybody to just send me information about their favorite veteran.
And we'll do that at 11:05. Bonner Cohen from CFAC is next on 101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL. Yeah.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Vic. Yo, Vic.
On News Talk STL. Colombo and Company.
Special legislative session happening in Jeff City. We'll get an update on what's happening Wednesday from Missouri political insider Rodney Boyd. Then we'll open Close's cabinet.
Live and local, weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Colombo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. The knowledgeable staff at Bluff City has served the St. Louis outdoor community for decades, and they can take care of all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your fishing needs, and more. Plus, while you're there, you can schedule a trip with a local fishing guide and shoot in their archery range. Bluff City Outdoors is open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Hi, Kirk Hilsinger here, and I'm the new chairman of the St. Louis Republican Central Committee. I invite you to our meetings that take place the first Thursday of every month at 3710 Hampton Avenue. You can stay connected with us to learn more about how you can get involved, make your voice heard, and contribute to our shared goals. Together, we can make a difference in the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri. For more info, visit our new website at stl-gop.com. That's stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Looking for an underwater adventure or a scaly new friend? Dive into Tropical World Pets on Watson Road. For 32 years, this family-owned wonderland has been St. Louis's go-to destination for all things aquatic and reptilian. With over 7,000 square feet of aquariums, we're home to the area's largest selection of freshwater fish, including rare cichlids you won't find anywhere else. But that's not all. We've got tarantulas, snakes, and lizards galore. Tropical World Pets, 314-849-4020, or visit twpstl.com.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
This is Mark Harder with RE/MAX Results, the #1 RE/MAX franchise in the region. As a licensed real estate broker with RE/MAX Results for over 20 years, I've seen the ups and downs of many real estate markets, including the one we're in right now. With the spring market in full swing, now is the time to leap into the buying or selling of your home. Someday is not a day. Today is the day to make your move. Call me at 314-852-8933 or email me at markhardersells@gmail.com.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Just the convenience on the phone.
Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the new app.
And listen anytime,
Everywhere.
anywhere. This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
Hi, it's Tom Shalou. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Thank you, Tom Shalou. All right, good morning, everybody. Thanks for being with us. Lots going on. Saturday night, 6 to 9 o'clock. It's JC's Wayback Machine. Music you just never hear on music radio in St. Louis. Remember how great Casey was when they in the old days? You know, they play a whole side of Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh yeah, beginning to end. Yeah.
You You know,
they would even play the silence in between.
yes, I mean that was what was cool about it. And now, of course, it's just crap, and JC will take care of that. 6 to 9 Saturday night, JC's Wayback Machine, brought to you by Weber Automotive Group. Right now, one of our favorite guests, he is from CFACT, and his name is Dr. Good Voice Bonner Cohen. Dr. Cohen, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Vic. How are you? And how are the good people of St. Louis?
We're good. We're good. All right. So there's so many times, and I didn't even think of this. That's why we count on you. You know, we talked about getting rid of the wind farms and the solar and all that crap. And we talk about resurgence of fossil fuel. And what about geothermal energy?
Yes, this is a very intriguing development. The whole idea of geothermal energy has been around a long time. Geothermal energy supplies power to the entire country of Iceland, for example. We thought over the years that the geology had to be exactly right, because what you're doing is you are digging down, or actually drilling down, well below the surface of the earth to where there is a lot of heat. Then that heat can produce power. It can cool homes, it can heat homes, and it can provide electricity. It's extremely clean. The problem with it has been, well, maybe it won't work everywhere because the geology has to be favorable, which it is, for instance, in the American West. But with the advent of fracking technology, which actually goes back 15, 20 years, people have realized if you want to get to geothermal energy, you can use the same techniques of horizontal drilling and fracking to get to geothermal energy, thereby providing us with an additional source of energy, one that is not subsidized from here to eternity like wind and solar are, and unlike wind and solar, is available 24/7. It's an extremely efficient source of energy. Costs a lot of money up front, but investors are starting to put their money there because they see that with the increased demands for electricity brought on by artificial intelligence, cloud computing, the whole AI development, we need a lot of electricity, a lot more than we thought we did. And geothermal could be a source of that. So it's getting a lot of attention. As I said, it's not cheap up front, but once it starts operating, it's actually very inexpensive. The one technical problem that you have with it is that you have to transmit it from the spot where you are extracting it from the earth to where it is needed. That means you have to have power lines, and there's a tremendous amount of competition now for power lines. The wind and solar people want their power lines. The natural other utilities use power lines for the final delivery of natural gas and coal. So there's a lot of competition there, but this is another weapon in our quiver to free ourselves from whatever remaining dependence we have on foreign sources of energy. And unlike wind and unlike solar, which are intermittent, this is available pretty much 24/7, and you have no dependence on the People's Republic of China for this because it's all being done domestically. So it's not that the raw materials that are in the turbines and that are in the solar panels and in the batteries to power both backup for wind and solar, as well as to power electric vehicles. China has a real grip on the supply chain there. You don't have that with geothermal. So it's I think a development that really warrants a lot of attention and is attracting a lot of capital.
This is the first conversation I've heard about geothermal energy. Why are we hiding this?
Well, for a long time, we didn't think it had any real application outside of a very narrow sphere where the geology was favorable enough, again, in the West, places like Utah, Wyoming, Nevada, places like that, and which are actually fairly sparsely populated. And then you had the whole question of how to get at it. Well, the latter problem has been taken care of.
Right.
You can frack
Right.
to get it. This is why the oil and gas companies are now investing heavily in this. It's not really a competitor, it's a partner. And so for companies like Chevron, they can, or BP or other companies, they have set up now geothermal divisions because of the synergies with respect to how it is extracted. It's more or less the same thing. So that's why it's suddenly coming to the fore, along with recognition on the part of an awful lot of people that we need a tremendous amount of electricity if we are to win the AI competition with China.
Okay, so we need some ammunition when the leftists come out and say, no, this geothermal energy is going to destroy the planet. Can we confirm it's not going to destroy the planet?
Yes, we can, because if it was, it would have destroyed Iceland a long time ago.
Right. That's exactly why I asked.
Right.
Okay.
And Iceland's hanging in there.
Yeah. So I got another question about AI, because I clearly don't understand AI. I thought AI was like to make your voice sound like somebody else, right? To make a video that's funny, that looks like somebody else. What? I don't even know what I'm asking. What exactly is AI? Can you answer that in a couple of minutes?
This is a fascinating question, because I don't really think there's a simple answer to it. But we can now digitally, through artificial intelligence, access enormous gobs of information. If you turn back the clock 30 or 40 years ago, you had to go to the local library and dig and dig and dig to get this stuff. Today, in the digital era, you can get it very quickly. It's a development of your standard Google search. When you Google Vic Porcelli, something will pop up almost instantaneously. This is that development on steroids. But it goes far beyond simply retrieving something that's there. The wizards who work with this can also answer your questions about this, that, and the other. The applications here are phenomenal. For instance, you go to the doctor, and the doctor says, well, I think you have this, but I'm going to go to a consulting physician or physicians. Well, they may not have to do that anymore, simply because artificial intelligence, by putting in the question, will give you the same information that you can get from consulting physicians. That's just one of the applications. I know a woman who was a paralegal in a law firm back here in Arlington, Virginia, where I am, who lost her job as a paralegal simply because the people in the law firm figured out that they could get the information that a paralegal would dig out for them through artificial intelligence at a fraction of the price. So these are the kinds of changes that we are in, and you can apply artificial intelligence to all sorts of things, military applications, applications, as I said, in the field of medicine, you name it. Artificial intelligence can go into databases, and they can access these databases in nanoseconds and come up with answers that would otherwise take a month of Sundays to dig out, even with your standard Google searches and what have you. So it's an amazing thing, and you certainly don't want to cede the leadership in artificial intelligence to the Chinese. So this is why it's absolutely imperative that we stay number one in AI which, among other things, means we need a huge amounts of electricity available 24/7, 365. Otherwise, these data centers that are tools of artificial intelligence can't be built. You may not want to live next door to one of these things, but they're going to have to go up, whether we like it or not, simply because they're absolutely essential now for our survival.
You know, when you go to the doctor now, the doctor says, "Do you mind if I record our conversation here on the phone?" And I was, "Go ahead." And so what it does, this is the AI, I guess. It takes the conversation you have with your doctor and it writes out exactly what's wrong with you, takes out all the nonsense.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So that's AI. That seems kind of simple. So clearly I need an education on what on a grander, wider scale AI does.
Well, also, Dr. Bonner, Cohen, you have geographically, they can do things like geologically, they can analyze things and come up with answers for, like, say, for example, the petroleum industry. You know, there are things like that also happening that really speed things up as well, correct?
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. The petroleum industry can use AI to locate things that petroleum industry is interested in doing. You know, the standard operating procedure is always, well, you have petroleum geologists. These people are very good at what they do, but AI can speed that up. AI can find things that they can't find. And of course, one of the applications there would also apply to geothermal energy. They can find out where the hot spots are and what kind of rock formations that you have around them. That will tell you how to penetrate those rock formations and enable you to extract the heat for thermal energy much quicker and ultimately cheaper than otherwise would be the case. So we are in what I really think we can say is the 21st century's industrial revolution. And whoever is king of the mountain on AI is going to be the king of the mountain, period.
We have to go, unfortunately, Dr. Cohen, but I just want to add in, when they did all this AI, I'm not sure they added in the bad guy factor.
Oh, yes, and believe me, this is something that bad guys, these can be a local lunatic, a geostrategic rival, or anyone else. Yes, if this stuff finds its way into the hands of bad people, and it will simply because it's accessible, bad things can happen, which is why we need to stay on top of it.
Absolutely right. Dr. Bonner Cohen from CFX. Always a great conversation, sir. Have a great day.
Okay, you too. Thank you.
And you can find Dr. Cohen and Melanie Collette and Donna Jackson all at cfact.org. Dr. Good Boys. Hey, it wouldn't be a Double Wish Wednesday without Speaker Jones, right?
Right.
Yeah, so he's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Woosh, whoosh.
Start your summer with a weekend showdown. Shohei Ohtani and the Los Angeles Dodgers roll into Busch Stadium June 6th through the 8th. Be there Friday for a cool new promo, the first ever Cardinals neck fan, perfect for hot game days. Then on Sunday, young fans 15 and under take home a Rawlings Kids glove. It's a weekend of big matchups and big giveaways. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Mason Wynn, St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Hey parents, looking for something fun and unforgettable to do with the kids? Bring the whole family to a Cardinals game at Busch Stadium. From kid-friendly activities and giveaways to awesome promotions like Kids Run the Bases. Your little ones will have a blast, and so will you. Check out Family Sundays, presented by Smithfield, where select tickets include a free jumbo hot dog and soda. There's nothing like sharing the magic of Cardinals baseball together. Make your memories this summer at Busch Stadium. Tickets are available at cardinals.com.
Never paint again. This is Darren, owner of Rhino Shield. Want to eliminate painting your home, business, or church? Call the experts at Rhino Shield. Rhino Shield is a revolutionary ceramic wall coating to regular paint and vinyl. Perfect for aluminum, steel, unpainted brick, block, stucco, ephes, drive-it, cement board, and wood sidings. Rhino Shield eliminates wasting time and money painting year after year. Our ceramic coating deflects 90% of the sun's UV rays and 100% of the moisture. Our clients want affordable protection with the elimination of maintenance. Rhino Shield protects your biggest investment while maintaining your architectural features and gives you the curb appeal you deserve. Make your home great again by working with the Rhino Shield experts. A+ rated with the BBB. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Elon Musk, whose time as Doge chief recently ended, is parting ways with President Trump over the one big beautiful bill now being debated in the Senate. Musk is harsh in his criticism of the measure and those who voted for it.
With all due respect, my friend Elon is terribly wrong about the one big beautiful bill.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says he has spoken to Musk at length about the tax cut and budget bill, so the criticism is disappointing. Tariffs on steel and aluminum imports from most countries have risen to 50%, that effective today. President Trump says he is determined to stop America's trading partners from taking advantage of the U.S. Iran's supreme leader is defiant, saying there is no way the Islamic Republic will stop enriching uranium, something experts say is key to building a nuclear arsenal.
The remarks by Ayatollah Ali Khamenei coloured in a red line, one that says Tehran refuses to give up enriching uranium in any possible deal with the US. That demand has been repeatedly made by American officials, including President Donald Trump, though it remains unclear just how much Envoy Steve Witkoff brought it up in his initial proposal to Tehran. But what Khamenei did not say in his speech matters as well. He didn't reject the talks, which Iran views as crucial for its economy to lift some of the crushing economic sanctions it faces. Khamenei also didn't insist on any specific level of nuclear enrichment. Iran now enriches uranium up to 60%, a short technical step from weapons-grade levels. I'm Charles Dillard.
The FBI has reportedly made an arrest in New York in connection with last month's explosion at a Palm Springs, California fertility clinic. Details expected soon, a news conference pending by federal prosecutors in Los Angeles. On Wall Street, the Dow trading 65 points higher. The NASDAQ is up 59. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Mike Gallagher here, host of the Mike Gallagher Show. If you know me, you know I only put my name behind people and companies I trust. When it comes to mortgages, I trust Mike and Brian at Fellowship Home Loans. They're not just friends. They've done loans for me, my family. I've seen firsthand how they treat every client like their family. And these days, that personal touch really matters. With the cost of everything up, you might be looking for ways to free up cash. Maybe you're thinking about a cash-out refi or HELOC to finish some home projects, consolidate debt, or just get ahead financially. Fellowship is a full-service direct lender, not a broker. They cut out the middleman. That means faster decisions, fewer fees, and less stress. Whether you're buying your first home, downsizing, or refinancing to get some breathing room, they'll tailor fit the loan to your life. Get started at fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Some showers in the mix this morning, but I expect scattered thunderstorms to develop from the midday into the afternoon, and one or two of those storms could be on the strong to severe side. Gusty winds would be the primary concern. Otherwise, considerable cloud cover today with a high of 78. Rain chances drop this evening and overnight, but a stray shower remains possible, 67 for the low. About a 40% chance of rain and storms on Thursday, but quite a bit of dry time in the mix, too. Up to 82 in the afternoon. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right, just about midway through on our 3-hour tour on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Vic Porcelli. That is Ken Williams over there. And like I said before, you can't do a double Woosh Wednesday without Speaker of the House, Tim Jones.
Timmy.
Former Speaker of the House.
You just proved why you left-wing loons are so insane.
Y'all ready for this?
Tim Jones.
All right, Tim. Every day on this show, first of all, it's Veterans Month because now veterans are getting the whole month they should have had all these years. And every day at 11:05, we feature a different veteran. Today, we'll feature David Lee Wagner. And right now, I think you have a veteran that you would like to thank. Is that right?
I do. I have a whole list, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So this is courtesy of my father, Dr. Bill Jones, who is a veteran himself. I had asked Dad for some information about all the veterans like him that I was like, hey, who are my my big veterans in my life? And he sent me a whole list, and I've got the list right here. So, all right, let's start with my dad. All right, Captain William C. Jones, DVM. So my dad's a veterinarian and a veteran. How about that?
Wow, a vet.
He was in the U.S. Army. He was a captain in the 70s, veterinarian care for Sentry Guard dogs at the Nike Missile Base in Minnesota, where I was born. That's why I was born in Minnesota by happenstance. My uncle, who I miss every day, my uncle Harley Allen Jones. What a name that is, huh? And he was a great American. He was a great uncle. He battled a form of blood leukemia for about 15, 20 years. And we lost him many years ago, but he was with the U.S. Navy, and he did something fascinating with the Navy. He was in naval intelligence with the CTR-3 Naval Security Group stationed at Pensacola, Florida. Then Midway Island, said there was rats all over that place. And then they sent him up to Adak, Alaska. Never heard of it.
Adak. Tim, it's Adak.
Adak, Alaska. And his job there was to keep track of all the Soviet missile subs. And then he was sent down to Presidio, California. So that was my uncle Harley Allen Jones, U.S. Navy. My grandfathers both served in World War II. Truly the greatest generation. My grandpa Francis Jones, U.S. Navy Chief Petty Officer, World War II, stationed on, my dad said, was one of the biggest ships in the Pacific. He was a ship fitter. Basically, he was a repairman for that naval vessel. A torpedo hit the side of his ship, stuck in the side of it, and thank God did not explode. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be speaking with you all right now.
No kidding.
He and his two crew members welded a piece of metal over the hole that the torpedo caused. Then they went over the side of the boat to remove the torpedo and weld another patch on the hole underwater on the outside of the ship's hull. The greatest generation. My other grandfather, the Italian immigrant, Freddie Tuno. I don't think his name was Freddie in Italy. It was probably Federico. Yeah, they changed it at Ellis Island, Vic.
Yeah.
My grandpa Fred, U.S. Army Sergeant, World War II. Let's see. He was here over here. He had immigrated over here with my great grandfather. Grandpa Tuno turned 18. He was then drafted in the Army. He became a U.S. citizen and then an infantryman. He was shipped back overseas, where he came from, to Germany. The superior officers found he could play the trumpet, which provided him a chance to join the U.S. Army band. And then he came back home. My uncle Leonard Deutschman, Uncle Duke. Uncle Duke always is a Marine and a U.S. Coast Guardsman. He was career Coast Guard. He rose to the rank of commander. He flew in Gulf War I. He flew a lot of the top military brass back and forth from U.S. Army bases over to Turkey. He was a pilot in the Marines and the Coast Guard. My Uncle Duke flew everything. Fixed wing, rotary craft, search and rescue from the Vietnam era up until the present day. And finally, my dad said he wanted to give a big shout out to another one of our listeners who is a neighbor of my parents, Don Heffington, U.S. Army E5, Vietnam. He was offered a chance to go to clerk and finance school as he was the infantry company clerk, and they shipped him instead to Germany instead of to Vietnam. So he probably got some luck there. So there you go.
Hey, Tim.
That's the Jones family and one friend.
And Tim, the only reason why I brought up Adak is because my sister Kim, who was in the Navy, she was stationed up there. It's the northernmost point of the United States.
Yeah, where is that, Ken? Is that on the
It's
north shore of Alaska?
Yeah, it's like the very top of Alaska, Adak. It's like
Good
it's like
grief.
that peninsula that goes out.
Is that where the penguins are?
I think so.
Yeah.
There
you go.
This conversation has just gone off the rails. Tim,
Well,
thank you for
it is the Tim and Ken show.
Hey,
So,
hey.
Vic,
yeah.
thanks for doing this. Seriously. Thank you for the opportunity to do this and to honor all these people that are they walk amongst us, right? We don't even know half the time. You're probably walking past veterans with amazing stories every single day of your life, and you don't even realize it. So you guys are putting the spotlight on them this month, as we should every day of every month.
We will also continue throughout the year.
Yeah.
Every Monday, starting in July, every Monday we'll honor another vet. So we'll do this all darn time because the veterans are supposed to be the ones who get the month and the days for them.
It's why you guys are great Americans. I don't care what anybody says.
Hey, what do they say?
I don't know.
Listen,
just saying.
Just got an email from Cloverleaf12, and it says that Vic and Ken, everybody knows June 6th is D-Day, but Midway Day is forgotten. Today is Midway Day. The U.S. Navy sank their 4 Japanese aircraft carriers on June 4th, 1942, and the loss forced Japan to call off the invasion of Midway. So
yeah.
That's another thing that we should thank our veterans for, and especially, like you said, Tim, the greatest generation. They were the best.
That's why we're here today.
Yep.
And who can argue that, yes, there, I mean, you go back through the centuries, through the millennia of human history, and we can talk about all the powerful fighting forces, right? Going back through the ages, Genghis Khan and all that. I would put the U.S. military up against any of the best armies in world history. I mean, because you know what we have that a lot of them didn't have? We have an innate sense of patriotism and a call to duty and to serve. And that is a distinguishing characteristic, I think, between our fighting men and women and the rest of the planet.
All right, let's talk about Missouri stuff here.
Oh, boy.
Boy. I am a little short this week. I had some unexpected expenses come up. I can't afford to buy Kauffman Stadium, a new stadium for the Royals. I just don't have the money. What in the hell are we doing, Tim?
Well, hey, Vic, the piggy bank's open. Maybe you should just send an email to Governor Kehoe, and he can send you a cool mill or two into the Vic Porcelli bank account.
There you go.
Well, not for nothing, but if we're paying for it, why don't we get some sort of dividend or, some sort of refund or something? I don't know.
Vic, it's a great point. If we're going to run this mafioso style state government, right?
Yeah.
Where everybody gets a little piece of this and where's our piece, right, Vic? I mean, if we're all in this con game, this Ponzi scheme, if we're all part of this, if we're going to be picking winners and losers and engaging in all this ridiculous corporate welfare, where's our take, right, Vic?
Yeah.
Maybe somebody needs to, have a meeting or something, about all this.
They have to wet our beak a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say so, Ken. Why not?
I was just going to say that. I was going to say, I just want to wet my beak. Wait,
That's
hold
his
on.
job.
Go ahead. Go on.
That's what his job is. That's why he's here.
Ken, Thunder Stealer.
What would make you think the Italian wouldn't say, I just want to wet my beak? All right.
And you know what, Vic? In all seriousness, our fun little conversation there, doesn't humor always highlight the insanity of certain things? That's why the Babylon Bee is so awesome.
That's right.
So, yeah, of course we wouldn't do that. So why in the world are we doing it for corporate billionaires? It's just as insane. It's not right. It's not the proper thing to do. It's definitely not a duty and responsibility of state government or any government. And so it's just as ludicrous. It's absolutely insane that in these you know what everybody admits in Jefferson City? Everybody admits that the Biden bucks and the COVID cash are about dried up. And the next few years of fiscal appropriating and planning on the state level, when they do that ginormous budget, are going to be lean, mean years. But yet we're going to spend $1+ billion over the next 30 years in a tax increment financing Ponzi scheme so we can keep a couple sports franchises. Why aren't we doing this for the automotive industry or the banking industry or the steel industry
or the radio industry
or the radio industry? Yeah, or the political consultant industry, I mean, aren't those people?
Yeah.
Yes. aren't those people and those jobs, fellas, just as important and just as vital? And arguably, small businesses being the backbone of the Missouri and the U.S. economy, I would argue we should be in the front of the line, not in the back of the line, if we're going to engage in this corporate cronyism and this continued game of trying to pick winners and losers. There is absolutely not a single economic study out there that would tell you or show you or prove to you that there is any net economic gain from building, financing, rehabilitating, or maintaining sports stadiums in a state. Is there economic activity and economic gain? Sure there is, because they do things and they employ people and they have business activity, but it's not net new gain. It's not like we're going to have 1 million new Royals and Chiefs fans suddenly move into the state and start spending money in Western Missouri. It's not any new net economic gain. It's just keeping your bright, shiny objects where they currently are.
So the enhancements they want to do to Arrowhead Stadium, right? I think it's like a few $100 million. And whatever that costs for 8 games a year. It doesn't seem very cost efficient.
Yeah, and let's give the Royals the benefit of the doubt here. That's only 80. That's only 80 games a year, max. Right. What do you do? What do these stadiums do? The remaining 200 and I'm not a math guy.
No, I get it. I know what
you're 260, 270, right? 270 days out of the year. I know there's people that have to, you go to let's say there's a road trip, right? You go down to Busch Stadium right now, and there's a couple people milling around, and there may be a couple people having lunch at Ballpark Village, but it's largely empty, right? There's not any. I'll guarantee you this: there's not any new net economic gain occurring on non-game days.
No.
And I'll say, I've said this once, I'll say it 1,000,000 times, and I'll keep saying it. If having professional sports franchises was the key to success in any urban area, St. Louis, the city of St. Louis, should be the shining city on the hill. But what has happened to St. Louis while we've had NFL franchises? While we currently have four professional sports franchises. So I guess if one is great, then 4 is magnificent, right? And they each have their own place to play, right? So we have 4 sports complexes. We have Busch Stadium. We have the St. Louis City Soccer Park.
Oh, yeah.
We have the, what is it called? An Enterprise Center where the Blues play. And the Battlehawks are back occupying the Dome, attracting more attendance every single time they play than the rest of the XFL league combined. Right. So they're all doing great, right? They're all doing what they're supposed to be doing. They could always do better. Sometimes they do worse. But we have 4 vibrant, well-attended, well-supported sports franchises. Thank you, everyone here in Missouri and beyond in the Midwest, for doing that. But has that solved all of our problems? And has that been the key to St. Louis's success? Absolutely not. We have the lowest population that we've had in over 80 years. We have the highest crime rates that we've had in decades. We have a failing education system, and we have businesses and people moving out and not moving in. So having bright, new, shiny sports stadiums is not the key to economic or even otherwise success for an area. I understand why Governor Kehoe's doing this. He doesn't want anything negative at this level to happen on his watch. I get it. But at some point, you have to say enough is enough. On the other hand, I'm a realist. I know that with a special session, the way special sessions operate, governors eventually get their way. So if they're going to advance this multi-billion-dollar boondoggle in, at the very least, every conservative should vote no. They should have to get their votes from all the squishy moderates and the other losers who think that somehow building new stadiums results. Let you people have the blood on your hands. So not a single conservative should vote for this. And along the way to the circus, they should extract a pound of flesh in exchange. How about property tax relief for all Missourians? How about a continued income tax cut for all Missourians? How about we continue the conversation of phasing out the personal property tax, whereby we never feel like we ever own our own stuff because we pay a rental fee to our county and state governments every single December, just in time for Christmas. Thank you very much. How about doing all that? And finally, how about a firm commitment from the governor that he will then call later in the year a special session for initiative petition reform so left-wing billionaires do not continue to use Missouri's Constitution as their own personal playground.
All right, let's think about it in these terms, and then we got to go, Tim.
Sorry, I went Steve Miller on you there.
It's okay.
No, you're good. You're fine.
We're not making a little animation thing for you, though, like we have for Steve Miller. All right, so here's the deal. Let's look at the people who are involved in all this, right? The rich billionaire owners, the rich, at least millionaire players. Somehow it seems politicians always end up being millionaires. And then who pays for it? Us, the poor working people of Missouri.
Wow. Yeah.
Who thinks that equation works?
The middle class. And you wonder why Missouri's population has flatlined over the last 2 decades. It's not because of Republican control. The Democrats always say, well, you Republicans have run the state for 20 years. Yeah, well, you Democrats ran it into the ground for the previous 60. Okay.
Well, not only that, Tim, but you have told us that the quote unquote Republicans down in southern, Southwest Missouri,
some of the
really
rural
aren't
folks,
even, some of them aren't even Republicans. They're Democrats, but Republicans in name only.
Yeah, it's not just Southwest Missouri, Ken. It's all over the state. There are a ton. Yes, the Democrats are right to one extent. We haven't been Republican enough in this state. And Ken, that's the point I think you're making. We haven't been Republican enough. That's what I would argue. We're still operating under Democrat light.
We need to be MAGA.
Like we do. We need to do things like eliminate the the state income tax. Eliminate it, just like many other booming states have already done. We need to have a worker freedom state, a right to work state. We need to have a better education system. We need to reduce regulations, and we need to stop this corporate welfare. The more money you take out of people's pockets and put into stadium financing, the more you are building up government and tearing down the middle class. You guys are exactly right.
And this state needs more handsomeness, and Ken and I are doing what we can there, okay?
We're trying. We're just trying.
Especially with that new haircut.
Who, mine or Vic's?
I think Vic's. I think Vic's, yeah, he's got a little edge on you there.
A little bit.
Wet my beak. When did you ever hear a guy named Ken Williams use the term wet my beak?
I got that from the
Godfather.
He's
been living with you for 4 years.
Wait. Did you hear what he just said? Oh, I got that from Godfather too. Oh, really? I never heard of that movie.
Timmy.
Hey, double Woosh Wednesday to you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much.
Double Woosh Wet Wednesday.
Whoosh, whoosh.
We'll listen to you
We
this
squeeze in a
afternoon.
dry hump day under partly sunny skies.
Not today.
No.
See you, Timmy.
Thanks, fellas. You guys are the best.
See you, Tim.
Wet my beak.
Hey, I said it. All right.
So funny, and I think it's hysterical. I really do. All right. Coming up next, Ken, we can't forget the events that never happened on this day in history.
Right.
We'll explain that when we get back.
Okay.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
Whoosh, whoosh.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Live and be well.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Okay. Mosquitoes are always fun, right? We always invite all the mosquitoes. Come on, guys. Come on. Suck on my arm and make me it. No? No. So we want to keep them away, of course. And when you're battling with mosquitoes outside your house, you know, your wife says, don't move. What? I'm like, what? You got a mosquito right on your face there. Hold on. Don't move. And then she goes, oh, missed it. Sorry.
Sorry.
So unless you just want to beat the heck out of your husband all day, why don't you call Mosquito Joe and do your husband a favor, okay? Whether it's playing ball with the kids or cooking out with friends. Have you ever seen these, they're like elastic kind of bracelets that you put on your wrist and your legs to keep the mosquitoes away?
Yeah.
They're so stylish, aren't they?
They're very.
My wife had a couple of those on yesterday. She goes, what's the number for Mosquito Joe's? So enjoy your time outside without the nuisance of pesky mosquitoes, ticks, and fleas. If you got dogs, you know, we have 1 million dogs. No more itching and scratching, and no more wasting time on smelly products that don't work. Those bracelets smell like stuff. Visit mosquitojoe.com or call 855-ASK-A-JOE. and get more information and a free quote. With Mosquito Joe, outside is fun again.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros, your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. We discovered Gutter Pros a few years ago when we bought our home and inherited a gutter issue that was on the road to becoming a potentially big problem, but thanks to Gutter Pros was stopped before causing any major damage. They've also repaired the siding on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros are also the best for siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros can help your home at gutterpros.com.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
News Talk STL.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
So is it a big, beautiful bill or a big, ugly bill? The debate continues.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
I have a theory. People talk loud when they want to act smart, right?
Correct! On News Talk STL.
All right. Welcome home to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Like I say it every day. 11:05, another edition of Vic for Vets, where we honor another veteran. Here's how it works, okay? We want to honor one veteran every day. Tim Jones gets to honor like 23. That's okay.
Right.
He's the speaker. And every day at 11:05, we will honor a veteran that you tell us about, but you have to tell us about that person, okay? So Ken's email is
ken@newstalkstl.com.
Tell us about your favorite veteran. You know, how easy is that? Name, branch of the government, where they served, rank, and then a little story about them. Ken's was incredibly emotional yesterday about Uncle Chuck.
Yeah. And if you can, Vic, have them send pictures in. You know, you can send pictures to us, and we're going to have a gallery and a page, a separate page that's going to be going continuously, even beyond Veterans Month of June.
It's a great idea. Great idea. So, you know, when we honor other things, if you know what I'm talking about, that aren't veterans in the month of June, maybe we need to turn things around a little bit.
Yeah.
And make this be out in the open, because we hear about the other stuff all day, every day, all day, every day.
Yeah.
So let's hear about the veterans all day, every day. And we'll do that at 11:05 for David Lee Wagner. And it's all brought to you with the amazing support of DG Firearms, Patriot Heating and Cooling, and Best Buy Flooring.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. So House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, that's exactly how Rush would say his name.
I think he would.
If he was still alive. Kicked up some violent rhetoric yesterday. Listen to this, Ken. Vowing to unmask and reveal the identities of ICE agents who are already putting their lives on the line to protect the American people, who are already getting death threats against them. And he wants to, is that even legal? Is that legal to dox like federal workers?
No, who he's doing that?
Who is doing it?
No, I say Hakeem.
Yes.
He is actually doing that.
That's what it says. I'll read it again. Hakeem Jeffries wants to unmask and reveal identities of ICE agents. I mean, here's how stupid and I'm like, okay, keep using this this strategy that you have, Democrats, because as far as immigration goes, that's one thing that President Trump is winning on overwhelmingly.
That's a 90-10 issue.
90-10 issue. And you're going to mess with the 10, right? You're going to put up your 10 against our 90 of percentages of people who think that the immigration stuff that President Trump is doing is good.
You know, I was thinking about this real quick. The media, we talk about them all the time about how they're very negative and they do negative promotion of things on the right and then positive on the left, correct? Primarily. That's actually a disadvantage for the left because the left thinks, well, see, everybody thinks this way, but they don't think that way. Most of Americans don't think that way. What they're seeing is what the media is trying to get them to think.
That's such a great point, Ken. I mean, that's such a great point because you'll see him and any Democrats stand there behind a podium and say, you know, and the majority of the U.S. citizens, you know, think this way.
Most Americans, they always say.
Most Americans.
See, most Americans feel this way. No, they don't.
So clearly, that's not true. Why jeopardize your already tarnished reputation as a bunch of liars?
Yeah.
Get up there and say, well, you know, we're going to work on this. We're going to see what we can do to help President Trump and work together.
I am so glad that they don't, because if they said that, there would be a battle going on.
Yeah, you're right.
There would be competition at that point. I believe, and I'm not going to say anything that we don't want, you know, to get the buzzer going here, but yeah,
I know. I wanted to do this. Next thing I wanted to do. Go ahead.
Well, we can do that later.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm saying from my remark here, I don't want to say that, but I do want to say that I hope that they continue their path because that's going to make it a lot easier in 26 and 28.
Well, that's what I was thinking, you know, because with this kind of 90-10 on immigration and other things, you would think that the Republicans will just go crazy in the midterms coming up next year.
What do you mean by that?
Well, that leads me to, I don't want to get too confident, too cocky. So if you get on the show and you say the words, or if Ken or I say the words, red wave or red tsunami, we'll hear this. We'll say, try again. That's Family Feud. When you hear the buzzer and say, try again.
Right.
The lightning round. Okay.
And every time it happens, even on that show, it makes you jump.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So Hakeem Jeffries says that they're being all right. He did it 24 hours after acting ICE Director Todd Lyons explained that agents are wearing masks because they're like, Ken, again, they're trying to compare what our ICE agents are doing now to get illegal aliens out of the country with Nazis during World War II.
I know.
Here's some differences, okay? The Germans went to other countries, Denmark, Luxembourg, The Hague, Poland, France, and just took people of one religion and killed all of them.
Right.
Okay? So we're not killing anybody. Let's start there. We're staying in our country and keeping the people who don't belong in our country out of our country. Stop the comparison with the Nazis.
I think the biggest slap in the face in that whole idea is that they're comparing the Jews to, you've got people like illegals. I mean, but some of the criminals, some of the child molesters, the rapists, the sex traffickers, they're comparing those scumbags to Jews.
Right. I'm looking at some of the people. Can you put China Blum up there for me?
Yeah.
My little angel from 1942. Gangbangers, murderers, gang members. They're people who weren't born here. Okay, listen, if you're not born here and you want to come here, great.
We love it.
We have a process, right? We have a process that will get you into this country eventually.
And check to see if you don't have measles or, tuberculosis or you're a criminal or anything like that.
Well, I think that's two different things.
No, I know, but
if you're sick, that's one thing. If you're a criminal, forget about it. If you're sick, when you get better, you can come in. If you're a criminal, you can't come in ever.
But my point is, we get to vet them.
Mm-hmm.
We get to,
Mm-hmm.
and if you can't make it, then that's on you. That's not on us.
So if you look at your stream right now, that little girl's name is Channa Blum, and she died at 10 years old. And I don't know if I'm just stupid or what, but that photo right there speaks to me so loudly. And her eyes look at me, Ken. I'm not just looking at a picture.
Yeah.
Her eyes look at me like to ask me, why did this happen?
Yeah.
How did this happen?
Right.
So anyway, getting back to Hakeem Jeffries, I believe what he's trying to do is against the law.
I think so. Why you can't dox public figures like that?
You shouldn't dox anybody.
Anyone. No. That's true. But that's been a great tool for the left. I mean, the left does it all the time for everything.
Yep. Who's this quote by? This is a great quote. I don't recall Jeffries and the Democrats. Oh, it's the person who wrote the article. I don't recall Jeffries and the Democrats demanding Antifa thugs be unmasked.
Which I think that it was so great. Remember when the news would follow the feds who were acting like they were a white supremacist
Patriot
group?
Front.
Yeah. That's right.
Patriot Front.
And they walked up to them and started grabbing their masks, and that freaked them out because they knew that they didn't want to be identified because they were all feds.
The mask thing. And again, do me a favor. If you're on Facebook and you're scrolling and you see some just stupid stuff, just scroll by it. Because I know that sometimes I get so mad when I see that they're trying to compare ICE agents to Hitler's Nazis. Because, again, Hitler and the Nazis weren't forcing the Jews out of Germany. They were bringing them to Germany and Poland to put them in trains, shave their heads, and kill them.
Exactly.
This is people, get out of our country, and you deal with the country you came from. Let them worry about you.
Yeah, the comparison's just stupid and very, very uneducated.
Sure is. So, again, this girl, I just don't know. I don't know what it is, Ken. I don't know what it is.
Well, she represents a people that were so disarmed. They actually were outnumbering the Germans, but they were so disarmed, and it's happened slowly. We've talked about this, Vic, where it started with just taking the radios away and then starting to demonize. See, this is the one thing that I think that the Democrats do and that we should push back on now. And I always say this, when they try to demonize an issue or a narrative or a topic or even a person on the right. And then everybody says, yeah, see, that's a bad person right there. Okay, well, that's what the Nazis did.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say that we're Nazis, you're actually acting it out.
You're the Nazis.
Right.
I've seen so many faces, though, Ken. I mean, they come up on my face because once you click on something, you get the stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So I see pictures of Jews who were born on a certain day, deported to Auschwitz, and then murdered in a death camp in a gas chamber. But this face, for some reason, is different to me, and I don't know why. I'd like to look her up, find out what her deal was by her name. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we could do a documentary about Channa Blum.
That'd be interesting. Maybe, and wouldn't it be crazy to find out that Vic Porcelli was related to her in some weird way?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. It could be because she speaks to me. Just that face, those eyes, they just speak to me. Okay, sorry. So now you guys see how I spend my evenings. Oh no, not crazy Joe Brazel. Is he really next? We love Joe Brazel.
We'll try.
It's crapshoot sometimes. Is that what you're saying?
A little bit.
Okay. Joe Brazel's next from the St. Charles County Council. Sorry, that's next on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Woosh, woosh.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Vic and Ken. Ken's a cat. He plays saxophone. Vic owns a cat, and he has cat-like reflexes. The Vic Porcelli Show on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Let's talk about your property, trees on your property. You may have a tree that is dead, right? Is dead on arrival. But you may have a tree that looks dead, but maybe is just sick and needs a doctor. Well, Roots Plus is that doctor because they specialize in premier tree solutions and services and innovative root solutions, not just tree removal. Now, Vic, what are you talking about? They come by and they like inject nutrients and stuff into the roots of your tree. And they've brought many a tree back, by the way. So if you're not sure, let them look at it. All right. Go to rootsplusllc.com. Let them take a look at it. And here's the good news, too. It's risk-free. If you take the money that you spent trying to save the tree and it just doesn't work, you do have to get rid of it. The money that you paid for trying to fix it goes to remove it. So it's kind of
that's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. They're honest guys. Stan's a great guy. The crews are great and patient. You know, they put up with me asking, so do you say timber or not? Meanwhile, the chainsaws.
What?
Timber. I know if you say timber.
Okay, I'll say it if you want me to.
They didn't. I had to say it. I had to volunteer to say timber on my own tree.
Well, at least you did.
Yeah. Sorry. Roots Plus LLC. They're good people. Please give them a call. Roots Plus LLC, or call them at 314-440-3662. That's 314-440-3662. And tell them Vic told you to call.
News, analysis, opinion.
The New York Times says Trump has blinked.
What he is doing is putting the military at risk.
It's to control how those dollars are spent.
A fight for the soul of the Democratic Party. 101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
We're all up here at beautiful Berry Hill Golf Course. Congressman Eric Burleson just stopped by.
It's a beautiful day.
It is.
Absolute
golf?
gorgeous. I don't play golf.
There you go.
Anytime that I was not in the Missouri House or Senate, I was in a cubicle. I just never had 4 hours to go play golf. I'll go sit in a deer stand or go stalk turkeys. And call them.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
It's brand new year. Tim Jones to tell you about the brand new things happening at The Hideout, famous for the Sunset Patio, 50 big screen TVs, live music and events, a fantastic game room, and of course, the food. The Hideout has a brand new menu featuring their world famous wings, the best handcrafted burgers, new items like the signature Sunset Dip and Dave's Chili, and a second location at Sugar Creek Golf Course in beautiful High Ridge. Experience The Hideout while enjoying a round of golf. Come in for lunch or dinner. The new 2025 Hideout, hideoutsportsbar.com, hideoutsportsbar.com. We'll definitely see you there.
Fox News commentary.
Wannabe tough guy Tim Walz encourages Democrats to bully Trump. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
No one wants to leave behind stress for their family. That's why a trust or a will is so important. Without one, your assets might go to the wrong people or leave out loved ones. Also, probate is long, expensive, and often avoidable with a revocable trust. Trustandwill.com makes it simple to create a personalized estate plan. A trust or will provides clarity and peace of mind. Get 20% off on your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/radio.
Loving intolerant left is back at it with their uplifting message. Just kidding. Instead, as the keynote speaker for the Democratic Party State Convention in South Carolina, failed VP candidate and current Minnesota Governor Tim Walz told fellow Democrats to be a little meaner, a little more fierce. He then went on to baselessly call President Trump a bully and encouraged his party to bully him back. He added a swear word in there too to keep up his rough and tumble image. In reality, Walz is the furthest thing from intimidating physically and politically, but even so, his message is inappropriate and reckless because President Trump has had 2 close attempts on his life. For Walz to continue to label him an existential threat or wannabe dictator or worse, encourage bullying is why we're in the political climate we're in. Tim Walz should be ashamed and embarrassed of himself. I'm embarrassed just looking at him. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Proctor Drapery Blinds and Shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
Woosh, woosh.
You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show on NewstalkSTL.
You know, we have a thing that we say here. This will be like one of those behind the curtain type of things. We give you a peek behind the curtain. But Ken and I and our boss Jeff, whenever we're listening to the station, we try to listen like a listener.
Yeah.
Not like somebody who's in the business, because that's two separate mindsets there, you know?
Right.
So if you're driving down the road and, Stevie Ray Vaughan couldn't stand the weather, it's great. And then Ken throws these things in and it hits when the drum beat happens and all the listeners, wow, that's really cool. Well, it's because you do it.
Thanks, man.
Just trying to wet your beak a little bit. Ken. That's what you people from Wales say all the time.
It is all we do. Yeah.
Big Welsh.
That's right. I grabbed that from my ancient history.
Big Welsh phrase. I want to wet my beak. Oh my God. All right. As if it couldn't get any crazier, let's welcome the St. Charles County Councilman that we love, Joe Brazel. Good morning, Joe. How are you?
Hey, Joe.
Good morning, Vic. I love your introductions. I really do. They're so funny.
Yeah, Ken's amazing. Ken's really amazing.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, how you guys doing? How's everything going?
We're doing good. We're happy to see that the caboose is going from O'Fallon to Defiance. I know that's not a really news story, but you were really revved up about it when you wrote about it.
Oh, it was. What do you mean it's not? That's a huge. That's national news, buddy.
Gigantic.
That's huge, man.
National news from March. I just caught up to it now. Is my point. But yeah, that's awesome.
We got the caboose. We had that move down in town. It was 100% volunteers. It was amazing. I mean, cranes and big trucks and all kinds of stuff. And the caboose was given to us by the Bluckleys out of O'Fallon. It was awesome. It was great. A great team effort from everybody. So it was really cool. But I know it's small news, but it's big news to us. You know
why so important to go from O'Fallon to Defiance? Why is that?
Well, because Defiance is called Defiance because they defied the railroad. I don't know if you knew that.
So
the railroad back. Yeah, in the 1800s, they called Defiance defiant. They said, they're defiant. They're the Defiance one. And that's where the name came from. So what we're going to do with the caboose is we're going to make it a visitor center, and we're going to paint it like it's Katy Trail stands for the Kansas-Texas Railroad. So we're going to graphically paint it correct. We're going to put a Kansas-Texas Railroad, and we're going to make it like a visitor center, a little museum in there. So that's what we're doing with it. So it's pretty cool. I mean, Defiance is a really cool town. It's got a lot of history. And so that's why we did that. So, and it was given to us. So we're like, why not? We'll take it, you know. But then we're like, we got to bid like $20,000 to move it. And we're like, we can't afford that. So then we started talking to different people and different contractors in the area, and they moved it for us for free. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
Wow. I think it's funny that Defiance, the name of the town, Defiance, which was about being defiant in a state that's the show me state, right? We're just pains in the asses over here in Missouri, aren't we?
Yeah, well, during COVID, I told Steve Owen they were trying to, there was arguments in between us, like we're not doing mask wearing, we're not shutting down the wineries, because at one time, for a very short period, they did shut the St. Charles County out for 4 weeks, which I wasn't in agreement with. But when they were shutting the wineries down, I told them, I said, I'm going to put signs all up and down 94 and 41. You think we're defiant then? We're defiant now. We're going to be open. All these wineries will be open, because they had all the parks open and everyone was drinking wine and beer in the parks. Why can't the wineries be open? It's the same damn thing, and so. So I said, you want to see Defiant? We're Defiant. And so we had those conversations.
I love it. I got to tell you, during COVID, if you went to Ameristar Casino, they were like, don't worry about it. If you want to wear a mask, wear it, But back in St. Louis County at Harrah's, whatever it was called at the time, you had it. Not only did you have to wear your mask, right? If you smoke, you had to drag your cigarette, and then put the mask back up. And if you want to take it, pull it down, take another drag.
Insanity. Just insanity.
Vic, the bug or whatever could not fly across the river. Don't you know that? I mean, it stayed in St. Louis County. It could not fly across the river in St. Louis County. Everybody knows that.
It's because of that sign on the Daniel Boone Bridge that says COVID, and then it's got a circle with a line through it. No COVID allowed. That's what it was.
Yeah, it's just like you see these neurotic people still wearing masks. You're like, you look at them really, and you're like, what is wrong with that person? Do they not watch any other news station than CNN or MSNBC? I mean, are they just totally crazy? Because if you're wearing a mask, though, unless you got a real sickness or something, I'll forgive you for that. But if you're wearing it for COVID, you're just absolutely got a mental disorder, and there's no question about it. No question about it. So
your meeting, the county council meetings must be a blast when you're there, right?
Well, I'll tell you what, COVID changed a lot of things, and it was hard as an elected official. And you got a lot of these weak council members and just these weak politicians that, if that's what Dr. Fauci says, or that's what the CDC says, and that's what we're going to do. It's like, why would you follow these communist morons? Well, I mean, what are you doing? And like, some people just don't have the fortitude to have critical thinking skills, and you got to argue with them over the dumbest thing. And I would say that I really kind of lost respect and lost friendships over COVID with elected officials. There's no question about it, because if you're falling for all that crap, you're just a follower. You're not a leader. And so it created some friction among a lot of elected officials, me, including me, because I was pretty strong on anti-COVID nonsense. I just was like, makes no sense. And we would have people come to our meetings, and they, on one side, this was so funny. We were at a council meeting, and all the liberals were literally sitting on the left, and all the non-mask wearers were sitting on the right. And I said, look out there, guys. Look at everyone on the right. How funny it is. You guys said exactly where you should be.
Yep.
I didn't wear a mask at one meeting. I refused to, because they made us set you're 6 feet apart with a mask. I'm like, which is it? It's either one or the other.
Right.
If you're going to come up with these rules, And
yeah.
so it was just ridiculous. It was so ridiculous.
So do you find that businesses in St. Charles had an advantage during COVID because the laws were a little more laxed up there? Did businesses do better?
Absolutely, no question about it. Everybody from St. Louis County was coming to St. Charles County to make purchases, because everybody else on the communist side was screwed over by Sam Page. Like Ben Brown, he had all those restaurants, and he got so sick of it. Me and Tom Shaw and Ben Brown, we had a rally down in Chesterfield, and we had flags, and we weren't wearing a mask, and we're fighting against the COVID nonsense. And so, and that's why Ben ran for Senate, which good for him. He did, and he took action. And it hurt his business tremendously, like so many others. And so many others went out of business because of that Communist Act. I mean, come on. And, here's the thing, guys, and you know this, but you got to quit fighting. Oh, the Democrats, they're losers. It's not even a Democrat-Republican thing anymore. It's like, you got to either have common sense and be pro-American, or you're not. One or the other. Good, pick a party. But the Democrat Party is not the party of what it used to be. And a lot of my labor friends, you can see they know that. They know that, unless they're such a libtard that they don't know what the hell's going on, but you know how it is.
I do. We try not to use that. We try not to use that word.
I shouldn't say that word.
It's okay. But we try not to use it. So, how about you and Mike Elam? You guys getting along, or you guys tussling, you're wrestling, or what's going on?
We don't really have confrontations or arguments anymore, because it's just like, I don't argue with liberals and I don't argue with people. But him and I, we try to get along just to have conformity in our council. And, of course, it'll heat up with the election and everything. But we don't talk politics on the dais. We're not supposed to, and I never do. But there hasn't been really any issues. And you know how in the summertime, politics really simmers down, because there are family vacations and kids are out of school and all that stuff. So there's not a lot of stuff really going on besides subdivision controversies and stuff like that, But for the most part, we're cordial and getting along. Yeah, for the most part, And Mike's a nice guy, I'm sure. He's just not going to be my choice for county executive.
That was my next question.
And Bill, I go 100% behind him, and he's polled twice, and he shows 40 points up. It was, I think, Nick Cucciani, who's a nice guy. He was like at 11, and Jason Law was at like 1.5, and who else? There was and Elam was like at 7 or something like that.
Okay.
And so, that's where we stand on that, and I mean, you know, I don't know. It's, you know, you don't ever want to say it's a runaway election, but you know, everyone's got to work hard at it. But Bill Eigle's got a good chance at it. And come on, he almost won the governorship. Kehoe had 20 million over him. Bill had 6, Kehoe had 26, and he came in 3 points behind. Come on.
Yep.
I mean, what does that tell you?
Exactly
You know?
right. So anything, any new business, you know, because in our crazy, you know, St. Louis County, there's always something crazy, something stupid going on from Sam Page. Like they can't even run a dog shelter, you know, and they can't get a license for the dog shelter. And Sam Page is this crazy kook. I mean, anything that we're going to hear about St. Charles, like we're hearing about this dog shelter in St. Louis County?
Not really, you know. I mean, seriously. I mean, we don't. As far as I know, we don't have any like crazy cover-ups or anything like that. I mean, Steve Ellman's done a good job. He's dedicated his life to community service, so I respect him for that. And we don't always agree on a lot of things. He's more moderate than me, but he does care about St. Charles County, and he does do a good job in that regard. And so, you know, so I think for the most part, St. Charles County is pretty solid. And mostly, Vic, because I think the people who live in St. Charles County police themselves and govern themselves. You don't really need government in the way, you know. And so I think that's what's so good about the residents in St. Charles County, that you don't really need, like in Defiance, you know, like we may be running 8 cops in St. Charles County in an evening. That's about you know, we're a huge county, and that's about how many people we run. But a lot of people in St. Charles County have guns, and they police and govern themselves, especially out in the southwest corridor of St. Charles County. So, you know, I guess that's to be said about St. Charles County. He's just got a lot of good citizens.
Yeah, they sure
That's
do.
my opinion.
All right,
Yeah.
Joe. Mark Harder's going to be in next break, so we'll ask him about some stuff about this county that we are broadcasting from, St. Louis County, and we always appreciate your attendance, Joe. So thank you so much.
All right, love you guys. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much. Thank
See you,
you
Joe.
for what you do.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
So I brought up Mike Elam.
Oh, did you?
Who we used to work with.
Yeah.
And I said, "You guys wrestling, or you guys tussling? What's going on?" He goes, "Nah, it's pretty good. We're getting along, and we don't talk politics from the dais, and that's cool." But Bill Eigel is running against Mike Elam for county executive.
Oh, good.
And he's for Bill Eigel.
I'm for Bill Eigel.
I think I'm for Bill Eigel too. But Bill Eigel. I mean, here was the point that Joe brought up, which is a great point. That Bill Eigel ran for governor and got way more votes than he needed to get the county executive job in St. Charles County.
Right.
So it should be a big win for Bill. All right.
We'll get him on the show and talk about it.
Yep. How long are you going to leave Chana up there?
Well, you know, we go to different slates, so it'll be intermittent.
It looks like you can get Mark and her in the same slate right there.
Maybe.
Okay, we'll see. Just love the girl. What can I say? All right, Vic for Vets. We're going to honor another veteran named David Lee Wagner. That's all coming up right after the news because it's Veterans Month.
Yes.
Ken.
Yes, it is.
Don't try to tell us any different. It's not Harvey Milk Month.
No.
And Mark Harder from the St. Louis County Council coming up on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Woosh, woosh.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for O'Fallon Family Floors, O'FallonFamilyFloors.com. Brian and his team, they're just amazing people. They're so proud of their operation. Pride in every installation. You can see that in the Google reviews. Pride in the great quality, pride in the great pricing, pride in the great variety, and pride in the fact that you can go into the store right off of Highway K at O'Fallon, or the store will come to you. That's the promise of O'Fallon Family Floors, O'FallonFamilyFloors.com.
For 3 generations, one family has ruled the road in quality asphalt paving. Ruby's King of the Road Hot Mix Asphalt Paving. Family owned and operated. We're your leading authority for driveways, lanes, and parking areas. No project is too small or too large. We cater to both residential and commercial needs with unbeatable quality and just $38 per square yard plus labor. Call 636-295-9949. 636-295-9949. Ruby's King of the Road Hot Mix Asphalt Paving. You save when we pave.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
To our brave police officers and first responders, we say thank you for risking your lives to protect us. To all the incredible volunteers who've joined hands with the David Dorn Foundation to raise funds for equipment and services, we extend our heartfelt gratitude. We stand strong with our volunteers who give their time, talent, and dedication as a shield of support for those who rush into danger. The David Dorn Foundation gives a big thank you from our heart to yours. Visit dornfoundation.com and join as a volunteer.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Speaking with reporters, House Speaker Mike Johnson says he's spoken to Elon Musk at length about the GOP tax bill. So Musk's criticism is very disappointing.
This is the most amount of money that any government has ever saved on planet Earth in a piece of legislation. Ever. It's a very important first start. Elon is missing it, okay? And it's not personal. I know that the EV mandate, very important to him, that is going away because the government should not be subsidizing these things. It's part of the Green New Deal, and I know that has an effect on his business, and I lament that. We talked about the ramp down period on that and how that should be duly considered by Congress, but for him to come out and ban the whole bill is to me just very disappointing, very surprising in light of the conversation I had with him yesterday.
House Speaker Mike Johnson. Also at townhall.com, National Weather Service meteorologist Mark Chenard says smoke from Canadian wildfires has resulted in poor air quality for some.
There is smoke over a large portion of the eastern part of the country. As far west as the Dakotas, Minnesota, and then a lot of areas east of the Mississippi River, all the way from Alabama, Georgia, up into New England. So a large part of the country has some smoke in the sky.
Canada having another bad wildfire season. More than 27,000 people in 3 provinces have been forced to evacuate. The smoke even reaching Europe, where it's causing hazy skies, but is not expected to affect surface air quality. The FBI arresting a man linked to last month's car bombing of a fertility clinic in Palm Springs, California. One official identified the suspect as 32-year-old Daniel Park of Kent, Washington. He was arrested Tuesday night at JFK in New York. On Wall Street, the Dow up 28 points, the Nasdaq adding 46. More at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare, and I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-613-5454. 800-613-5454. 800-613-5454.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Tim Jones here. Being a recovering lawyer, don't call me for your legal needs, but you should call Todd Sivia and the fine folks at Sivia Law. At Sivia Law, they'll help you through all of life's transitions, providing you with legal services in the areas of estate planning, elder law, special needs, real estate, personal injury, and much more. Locations across Western Illinois and Eastern Missouri, including right here in Creve Coeur and Wentzville. Call Sivia Law today for any and all of your legal needs. 833-995-WILL. SiviaLaw.com, SiviaLaw.com.
Happy
Father's Day.
For Father's Day, families everywhere giving dads 40% of the effort they put into Mother's Day.
Dad, I love you. I appreciate everything you've done for me and all the sacrifices.
I love you, Dad. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day for everybody.
Happy Father's Day.
My father's a hero.
Thank you for everything, Pops.
Happy Father's Day from some of Dad's favorites. Iron Bear Customs, Patriot Powder Coating, Tropical World Beds, and News Talk STL.
Hey, DIY warriors, ready to transform your outdoor space? Start with Lee May Concrete Block, St. Louis's trusted family-owned manufacturer since 1947. Whether you're building a retaining wall, creating a backyard fireplace, or pouring concrete, Lee May's got you covered. From compact blocks to large cast concrete, they provide materials and professional guidance to bring your vision to life. Military and first responders get special discounts. Visit Lee May Block Showroom or LeeMayBlock.com. Lee May Block, building your dream one block at a time.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewstalkSTL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by the Trolley Stop Bakery, the official bakery of the Vic Porcelli Show. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
For a 3-hour tour, a 3-hour tour. The weather started getting rough.
We squeeze in a dry hump day under partly sunny skies.
From New Jersey to Baldwin, Missouri, to behind the microphone, taking the whoosh to the radical left and the putrid swamp. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show. Here he is, Vic Porcelli.
All right, cutesy time is over. There was a cutesy time is over in the chat box somewhere. Yeah, we'll have to find it later. But, Dan Bongino, who used to have this hour here, used to say that all the time. Okay. We're going to talk to Mark Harder here in just a bit. And we also will do the chat box. And Andy's produce, right? Cheryl Orlando coming in today?
I hope so, yeah.
Right. We want some produce. Who doesn't like produce? But right now it's time for our daily feature during the month of June. June is Veterans Month, period, on this here radio show. Okay. And today we are honoring David Lee Wagner, Technical Sergeant, 21st Tactical Airlift Squadron, 374th TAC Airlift Wing, 7th Air Force in the United States Air Force in Warner Robins, Georgia. So this was sent in by listener R-SAV, R-Save. And
which, by the way, if you don't want to include your name, do just like that. Just initials. That's fine.
I think everybody realizes this is for the veterans, not for us. But if you want your name, we'll say it. If you don't, we won't.
Right.
Okay. So David Lee Wagner from the Air Force was born on June 28th, 1940, and he died on May 17th, 1972. Here are the circumstances. Here's his story. During his service in the Vietnam War, Air Force Technical Sergeant Wagner was reported missing and ultimately declared dead on May 17th, 1972. Recorded circumstances attributed to hostile, died while missing, air loss crash, land fixed wing, crew, incident location, South Vietnam, Kon Tum province. So they had to pick a day, really.
Yeah.
For the day he died. And you know what's funny, Ken? I have who gave us the POW MIA shirts? Was it the
oh my goodness,
one of the broadcasts we did from one of the American Legion Hall or
yeah, it might have been the $24.99
because this guy basically was a MIA, missing in action.
Yep.
And these guys in the Vietnam War, Uncle Chuck, Ken's Uncle Chuck, so many other people in the Vietnam War didn't get the ticker tape parade, the heroes welcome home, like other wars did, like World War II did.
Right.
And if you see a guy, here's how I play it. You do it how you want. If I see a guy with a Vietnam vet baseball cap on, absolutely will walk up to him, shake his hand, and say, thank you for serving. And then I've gotten a myriad reactions on that. Some of them are like, well, thanks. And they want to talk, you know?
Yeah.
If they want to talk to them. Let them talk. Let them tell their story.
They've got a lot to say. I did that at an auto shop once when I was getting my oil changed. And this guy was sitting there talking about the vet services, and he needed $6 for to get there, and little things like that. And so I didn't tell him, but I paid for his oil change.
Nice.
But you don't want to say to them, hey, I'm going to take care of this for you.
Right.
Just do it, you walk out.
And let them talk. Shut up and let them talk.
Let him go. He just talked. It was great.
I bought a Vietnam veteran coffee at Quick Trip one morning. And again, the cool way to do it is to do it and then run, so they don't know who it came from.
Right.
Just somebody's thinking about them. So I said, got what I got, cigarettes and soda. And then I said, and that guy there, I want to pay for his coffee. So the girl's like, what size?
I don't care.
Make it the biggest.
Yeah.
The most expensive,
right.
biggest coffee you got.
Yeah.
Okay. Charge me for that and tell them that somebody bought his coffee. And, people like David Lee Wagner never got home to have these stories, So thank
David
you.
Lee Wagner. Wow.
Did I say that right?
No, you did.
Okay. Our listener R-Save, thank you so much for submitting David Lee Wagner's information. It's Vic for Vets all month long, and we are honoring veterans during this entire month, and we couldn't do it without the great support from DG Firearms, Patriot Heating and Cooling, and Best Buy Flooring. And Ken, I don't know about you, but I love that we are doing this for veterans.
Oh, I love it.
Every day in the month of June, and then once a week once we hit July. All right, please, everybody, all rise.
From the county of St. Louis, crime issues, economic development. This is Mark Harder.
Good morning,
Ken. Good morning, Vic. It's Wednesday again.
I think I go first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll try again?
Yeah, let's do that again.
Go ahead. Hi, Mark.
Take two. Hi, Vic. Hi, Ken.
There
How
we
are
go.
you?
Hi,
Yeah.
Mark. I am just kidding. I'm completely just kidding.
So this is the Vic Porcelli Show.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
That's right.
Except he likes to wet his beak. He thinks he's Italian. Just want to wet my beak.
You mean a thunder stealer?
Mark, you need to wet your beak sometime.
Hey, we won't talk about that.
So I got to say, Mark, I hate it when the news story comes out and it's about that dog shelter that lost 19 dogs from parvo.
Right.
Can't get a license from. I didn't realize the Department of Agriculture issues the license
for all shelters like this. Yeah.
I saw Dennis Hancock, Mike Archer
Mhm.
last night on the news. Update us on what's going on.
Well, yesterday we had a committee meeting as a follow-up to last week when we were on the show. We talked about how, we got testimony from the health director and what went on. We had a 3-hour meeting trying to get her testimony, and we actually even swore her in because we're not trusting her very much right now. So we made sure she was sworn in, as well as the new shelter director was sworn in, so that we could try to get to the bottom of this and try to seek truth in this whole situation. And we still didn't really get the full story. So yesterday, Mike Archer, who's the chairman of our ethics committee, we worked with him to have a meeting yesterday and to issue subpoenas, or to vote to issue subpoenas on 11 different employees over at the shelter.
Hold on. Can I ask a
Okay,
question?
sure.
Those 12 subpoenas, what kind of job did they have?
Well, from the head of the health department,
wow,
on down.
Wow. Okay,
So
that's good.
these are the director of the health, the director of the shelter, the veterinarian that quit right after the virus was discovered, some of the vet techs, anybody we thought touched this whole situation. We basically have issued a subpoena for them to come and testify at a future meeting, which we
Continue
haven't
on.
determined.
Sorry I interrupted you. So continue on with where you were.
Yeah. So the purpose of this is to get these people in and to ask them the questions that we didn't get answered the other day. And hopefully we can get to the bottom of this once and for all. We hope these people won't stonewall us, that they can come in and we'll get to the bottom of this, and then we can move on, because there'll be another crisis du jour as we found in the last 10 years.
So this sounds like a hearing, right? You subpoena people. Will this hearing be something we can watch?
It sure will be.
On the chat box, whatever you call it. What do you guys call it?
It's it's
something
our online version. Yeah.
I want people to know this because I want people to watch this. Okay. Because I got to tell you, when my wife found out that 19 dogs died, she was pissed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she was pissed because she loves dogs.
Right. Well, we all do.
So if you go to the St. Louis County website.
Right. Under the
then-
county council.
Right. County council. And then
Yeah.
the stream box, I think they call it.
Chat box. Or not chat box, but yeah, it's Boxcast.
Boxcast. There
Yeah,
you go.
That's our service.
So when is this hearing?
Well, we haven't determined that yet because that has to be set. We have to make sure all of our schedules coordinate, and then also that has to be put on the subpoena and a date certain so they know when to testify.
So how long will that last?
I'm hoping that we can wrap this up by next week. I hope it doesn't go on longer than that because the longer this goes on, people's memories fade, information disappears, people lose interest. We got to keep moving forward on this.
Okay.
So
I only ask because if it happens before the next time we're to chat, if you can call us and let
sure.
us know. So, because I want people to watch this.
Right. And then there should be some good sound bites out of that once we do get that taken care of.
And what about this vet that just quit and split?
Well, he's probably the linchpin in this whole thing, and we subpoena him as well. We don't know where he went, so we've got to track him down as well as some of the other people that were either fired or quit in the last, 3-4 weeks. So we got to track down these people. So it may take longer for this hearing to happen, so that we can get these subpoenas served.
What is the penalty for ignoring a subpoena?
Well, it would take us as a council to go before a judge and force them to compel them to come to the next meeting, whatever it is. So we'll have to take it step by step. It is a court order that we have the power to issue as a council, and so we would have to go before a court and get a ruling. And if they rule against them, it would pretty much be a contempt of court type of charge on their part.
What's the penalty of contempt of?
It's up to the judge. They can hold them, they can fine them, they can all make all kinds of things to compel them to appear.
So is the hearing part of a regular council meeting or is it a separate event?
No, it'll be a separate event because this is a topic that we need to handle by itself and give it its due attention.
Yeah.
So that's coming up here, so stay tuned, and the drama continues.
Drama always continues in that place.
That's right.
Not that it's your fault, but there's always drama.
Well, it just seems that way. And when you have poor leadership at the top, these things happen. And so that's the way. So speaking of poor leadership, Sam Page has been on vacation this week.
Well done, Mark Carter.
Is that a good segue?
That was great.
That was
It
good.
wasn't a segue. It was the joke.
It was a joke, yeah.
Sam Page has been supposedly out of the country this week. And what was funny is that he never notified any of us on the council officially. And so under our charter, the chairperson, whoever that may be, is technically the stand-in county executive until that person returns.
So who's that?
That's Rita Days.
Okay.
So right now she is the county executive and chair of the council until he returns.
So if she's the lead, then while he's gone, could she just let him go?
No, because he's an elected official.
Sorry, Sam. We're going to let you go.
Yeah,
but that's a good question. Can she actually undo some of the stuff?
Well, not so much undo, but she can probably sign things if there was a emergency during this time that decisions had to be made. She would have the full legal right to make those decisions.
Sam Page doesn't have an auto pen, right? I hope.
I don't know. I think I saw something on the Babylon Bee that George Washington had the auto feather.
Auto feather.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
They tracked his signatures back to the auto feather. So no, he doesn't, and thank goodness. But she could sign legislation, things we passed last night if she wanted to. So it's mostly there for emergency situations. Things are not going to happen, or things that she can't undo things. But it would be nice if he would have notified her officially that he's going to be out of the country, and because really the charter under 3.03 says out of the county. So anytime they're out of the county, that they should notify us that that's the case, and,
You know
and
that's
he's
not
out of the
happening.
country.
You know that's not happening.
Oh, I know it's not.
So it's a
gonna happen.
20-minute drive to get out of the county.
Right. So that's not happening. So, yeah, we can. That's going on. So a couple other things is some of the listeners might be interested in. So we've got legislation before us to fund a climate study. So our planning department and Sam Page wants us to fund a climate study, $750,000.
Oh my God.
Okay. And so it came up a couple of months ago. It was kind of a preliminary approval. I voted against it, but it still passed. And now we to reissue for this year, we have to reissue the money because it didn't get done last year. So we have to reappropriate the money. And so it's coming up before us right now. And we're starting to get emails, people saying, oh, we got to have this. We're going to die. And, the seas are going to rise and all that kind of stuff. So this is a big waste of money. If people would actually read the fine print on this, it's not going to tell us anything that we don't know already. There is enough climate studies being done at St. Louis U, WashU, you name it, and we don't need to spend the money going forward.
Well,
my
my big
opinion.
question is, okay, after the $750,000 is over, after the testing is over, all the different research is over, what is their action? What is the action after all this is done? Well, we figured out how we're going to solve it.
Well, and the funny thing is, there's no way to solve it.
There is,
especially at a county level.
No,
even at a country level.
No,
we can't solve it. Even
No.
a world level.
A world level.
we can't solve this.
It will be doing what it's going to do.
That's right. And so it will be another jumping off place. I see it as a justification for more regulation that either locally or nationally that, we've got to ban XYZ because, we're going to choke on our whatever here in St. Louis, but if you go to St. Charles, you won't choke on it, whatever it is. So it's just to spend money on things like this when we have roads that are crumbling. We got, a disaster area in certain parts of the region dealing with, the tornado relief. And this is the type of stuff we're going to spend any more than a minute on. It's crazy.
So the climate kooks, right, have all been wrong about everything. We say it all the time. Al Gore, Greta Thunberg, AOC, they've all been wrong. And the ice caps are actually growing. So it's colder up there. So back to the Babylon Bee. They have a headline that says, "Furious Al Gore seen blowing hair dryer at ice caps to stop them from regrowing."
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we can do that here in St. Louis in the wintertime. That's like, people say, in December, it's so cold here. It's called winter,
It's
and
winter,
in July, it's 100 degrees. It's July.
That's cold summer.
The Today Show, if you look on their map every single day, Al Roker has made the Today Show map of the United States red, blood red, and the whole thing across the whole country.
He also refuses to say Gulf of America. He says Gulf of Mexico.
What I love are those videos of the weather person, and it's got 50 degrees, 60 degrees, and then 1,000 degrees.
Right.
It's going to be really hot in Des Moines.
Wow. Sweating today.
1,000 degrees in Des Moines.
All right, Mark.
Couple other things real quick. I know you guys have been talking about this when you're dealing with veterans. We have coming to St. Louis County Parks, Jefferson Barracks. We have what's called the Wall That Heals, and it is the recreation of the Vietnam veteran wall from D.C., and that's a traveling exhibit, and that will be in July 24th and to 27.
We're going to be down there.
I know you guys are going to be down there. I hope you are, and it's
Thunder Stealer.
The thing is about this is that it is open 24 hours. It's lit up at night, and so it's very moving from what I've been told. I haven't seen it. I've seen the one down in Perryville, and I've seen the one in D.C., and it probably has as many people there at night as it does a day, because it's so emotional.
And that's at Jefferson Barracks.
There'll be
correct?
a Jefferson Barracks Park right next to the cemetery.
3/4 scale? Is it 3/4 scale?
I think it is. It's not 100%.
It's big.
But the one in Perryville is 100%.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. And it's lit up, and you walk it, and there's displays around and things like that. So either way, all those places are a great place to go and spend a day.
Well, my Uncle Chuck is buried there, and my parents are. So that'll be, I'll probably find a way to visit them there.
I got to tell you a real fast story about my father-in-law who hated Harry Truman. okay, because when he got drafted by Harry Truman, okay, and he already had started a family, and he got called up because he was in World War II. He got called up for Korea, and so he gets the notice, report for duty, Harry S. Truman. He goes and reports, serves his time. He spent the rest of his life, he used to call him Harry Ass Truman. And so that's how bad he hated him. And so every story, every family gathering, that's what he would say. And so he passes away, and he gets buried at Jefferson Barracks. And so when you go down there, you go to the little shelter, the ceremony, and then if you want, you can go to the graveside, and they have a whole, that row of graves opened up for that day. We walk in, we look at it, and I look back at the street so I can figure out, okay, how do we get back here? I look at the street, and it says Harry S. Truman Street. So for eternity, he's buried
right under the sign.
Right under the sign for Harry S. Truman Road in Jefferson Barracks.
They knew it. See, he should have kept his mouth shut.
I know.
They knew it.
I know.
All right, Mark. Thanks so much, man. Keep up fighting the good fight for us.
Buddy.
Okay. And we're going to be down there at that Vietnam, the Mobile Vietnam Memorial.
And I want to mention the St. Louis County Insider Sundays at 5 p.m.
That's right.
On NewstalkSTL.
We got a great show lineup of 3 great guests today.
Who?
Coming. We've got John Nations, the former mayor of Chesterfield. We've got Dr. Keith Marty, the superintendent of Parkway Schools, and VP of Operation James DeWeese with Boeing. And we'll talk about the new products that they are producing at Boeing.
Well done, Mark Harder.
Thanks, Mark.
So the Biden auto pen scandal, got an analysis, location, schedules of where he was when that pen was doing the auto penning.
Oh, Mint, that's interesting.
That makes sense?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
On 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Most Americans are a $400 unexpected expense away from bankruptcy.
That's Bidenomics in action.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new Newstalk STL app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Another RX Watch, brought to you by Onder Law.
Welcome back to RX Watch. This alert is disturbing.
Right. A while back, we learned that companies like Johnson & Johnson use a mineral called talc in baby powder and other products.
And studies show that talc, when used for feminine hygiene, can cause ovarian cancer.
Now listen to this. RX Watch has learned that the talc they use is being mined in China.
Right, and talc mined in China contains heavy metal contaminants like chromium and magnesium, which are known to cause cancer. But China doesn't care.
So China gets the jobs and we get contaminated talc in our baby powder.
And ovarian cancer.
Right. With their specialized tests, the medical team at Onder Law can help you know if your ovarian cancer was caused by talc.
Onder Law has helped women for years with free and confidential consultation. You need to call Onder Law's pharma attorneys at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
Call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
That's 1-800-RX-WATCH or go to rxwatch.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
McGuire Moving is Silver certified, which means they are great at relocating senior citizens. In fact, McGuire is a household name because McGuire understands the stress involved when moving older adults. So if you or family members need help moving, I highly recommend McGuire Moving. 314-241-0600. 241-0600. Get a free in-home estimate. McGuireMoving.com.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
News, analysis, opinion.
Don't always agree, but in love listening to your radio station.
This is tyrannical stuff they're doing.
Elections have consequences. This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now. at 314-912-1019.
Hey, this is Jim Florentine, and you listen to Vic and Ken on the Vic Porcelli Show on 94.1 and 101.9 News Talk STL.
That's the always mad Jim Florentine. No, he's not mad. It just seems like he sounds like he's always mad. It looks like he's always mad. All right, chat box. To finish up the show, that'll be at 11:41 or thereabouts. I know I give you times, and it's never the same time. That's because some of our guests keep us a little longer than they're scheduled. Not all the guests. Not Mark Harder.
No.
Never. All right, so here's an interesting question, Ken.
Yeah.
All the auto pen stuff that Biden did, including the pardons, right? Pardons of Biden family members, Anthony Fauci, General Milley, J6 committee.
That's a big one.
And General Lundergan. Now, why? Let's start with the J6 committee. Like you said, that's a big one. The J6 committee was the biggest government kangaroo court ever.
It really was. I'm trying to envision what's going to happen after this is all decided, right? No matter what, you've got this auto pen, and then they say, well, we're going to now investigate the J6 panel. Okay. And they say, oh, no, you can't, because we've got a pardon from Joe Biden, and they're going to say, well, we're not sure about that. So now we have to investigate the auto pen.
Right.
So no matter what happens here, because I have a feeling that the left is going to say, you cannot investigate this auto pen thing. This is just wasting our time. You're wasting time when people are dying in Africa, whatever. So they're going to say, well, we have to, because we can't move on with our investigations without it.
But if anybody who was pardoned is subpoenaed, they have to honor that subpoena and testify, and they cannot use the Fifth Amendment. So that's it. Ball game's on. Tell the truth or you commit perjury, one or the other.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I guess that gives, if you think about it, it gives, oddly enough, the Republicans more options.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
So I want to stay on the J6 committee just for a second.
Okay.
Because they'd had, I know it wasn't a court of law, right? It was a congressional hearing with different rules. But I would think that the person that they're talking about, in this case, of course, President Trump, would have a fair trial, so to speak. So if it were in a court of law, you'd have somebody who was the defendant, and then you would have the attorney for that defendant speak on behalf of the defendant and defend his case.
Right.
Donald Trump didn't get that.
No.
There was not one person. I know it sounds crazy, but there was not one person who testified to back up Donald Trump. Not one.
No, there was zero representation.
Representation. That's the word I'm thinking about.
That's what it was. So they're talking about, now, see, then you get injunctions for these illegal people, these people who should not be in this country anyway. We're getting injunctions left and right, more than any other combined president in history, on Donald Trump, saying they must have due process. But Donald Trump himself, the president of the United States of America, didn't get due process.
And I'm not sure this hearing is part of that due process, but it sounds like it to me, but I don't know. Susie would say, well, not really.
I get it. I get all that, Vic, but due process is due process.
I get it. I get it.
And if and I'll go back to it. I'll go back to this every single time it's brought up. But Barack Obama deported millions of people. Everybody listen, millions of people were deported by Barack Obama during his terms. And not one injunction, not one due process problem that they ever had. They never had one because they didn't need it. They just got rid of them.
Not one mention in current hearings about all this stuff.
No.
They're having the injunction hearings, I think, this week. And is anybody going to say, well, Obama?
I hope they do.
He deported way more than Trump did. Nobody cared about that.
They've got to be more. They've got to be smarter than that. And not only that, but Joe Biden himself, when he became president, he had a lot of people who deported. He really did, actually.
Okay, so all the pardons, Biden family members, Anthony Fauci, who, by the way, he needed a pardon because he already lied to Congress. He perjured himself in front of Congress with the COVID and the vaccinations and the masks, right? General Milley's a downright traitor. I don't know who Joe Lundergan is. So, according to a new analysis by the Oversight Project, Joe Biden was in D.C. while the auto pen was signing tons of pardons and communications.
He wasn't in D.C., correct?
No, he was. That's what they're saying. Why did you use auto pen when Joe was right there? Make him sign it.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
He wasn't in Delaware. He wasn't in Italy getting pushed around by Giorgia Meloni.
I got you.
He was in D.C. while the auto pen was used. But where was Joe Biden? Was he sitting in the Oval Office while the auto pen ran the presidency? Or at least on at least 8 occasions, Joe Biden hand-signed bills, but the auto pen signed executive orders on the same day? I mean, you can pin down exactly the time that the auto pen did its thing.
Right.
Or it's like what they call it, time-stamped.
Right.
And then you can go back and watch video, which every, I think, governmental camera video has time-stamped on that too, and find out if they were both done at the same time and see if Joe and the auto pen worked at the same time.
Yeah, and if Joe
two different
Biden,
things.
if he was in D.C., you're right. If he was in D.C. and he didn't, I'm trying to go through this in my head, he didn't sign it, then why didn't he sign it if he was in D.C.?
If Joe Biden was physically in D.C., why was the auto pen signing important documents? That's the question. Of all the auto pen pardons issued by Biden or his handlers, 6 pardons were issued while Biden was on vacation in St. Croix.
Okay, but about that also, why was it so critical to have these pardons signed while Joe was gone? Why was that? Couldn't they have waited a couple days for him to get back? Okay.
Great question. And I think that's a great question. And I also think it's a great question that if he was in D.C., why is the auto pen why are they using auto pen when he's right there?
I would love to hear if the auto pen was being used at the exact same time he was signing something himself.
We can pin that down.
Oh.
We can pin down both of them because everything he does is marked and documented for archives and all that crap. And of course, the auto pen has to have a timestamp on it too, on who swiped their card, who signed in, who logged in to the auto pen.
Yeah,
that could be right down to the second.
Man, that something has to be done about this.
I agree.
There has to be an investigation.
All right, let's talk about our veterans again for a quick second here.
Yes,
because people who serve this country, you have no idea how much I revere them because they have the bravery and the courage to do what they did. And they're the ones who come home and they're the ones that end up homeless or unemployed or whatever. So for years now, we've looked at all these celebrations in June,
Yeah.
One in particular that I'm thinking of. But now we have made it, and we want to try to make this up. This is just a grassroots thing that you and I are doing, but to make it grow big enough to become a national thing and make June Veterans Month.
Yeah, and this is the reason why we're doing it, because of the veterans, the importance of what the veterans have done and continue to do for this country. I check emails and I check social media responses on what has happened in the last few days about this, with us doing this.
Oh, yeah.
It's been incredible. People want this. People want to hear it. They want to see it.
So you have to do your part and send Ken an email on your favorite veteran. Everybody's got to have a favorite veteran. Tell us the person's name, rank, branch, and then anything else you want to tell us about him or her.
And please do that, because here's another reason to do it. Not only for this month, but once a week after this month. We're going to do once a week, every Monday, I think it is, to continue to highlight a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have a gallery of photos. So if you have photos of your favorite veteran, send them away, because we'll put them up on this gallery. I think it's amazing. I think it's going to be so much fun and so inspiring to have that information on our website.
I think I owe you a picture of my dad, right? I owe
You
a
do,
picture.
yeah. I've got a couple of my uncle.
Okay, chat box just for you. Okay, that's next. I'm 1019 94.1 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
I think this is my favorite Michael Jackson song.
It's my favorite Michael Jackson song.
I'm not sure about that.
Were you at the Playpen in Wildwood with that chick with the white
no,
shirt and the
that's
black
true.
shorts?
You're right.
And the white socks and black shoes?
No, I was over in the east side.
She was so beautiful. She wouldn't even talk to me.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show.
You're funny. Well, I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you. I make you laugh. What do you mean funny?
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. News Talk STL.
Chris Arps here, and after Becky and I leave church on Sunday, we head down the street to Capriotti's to grab a classic meatball sub. And of course, for dessert, I get a giant chocolate chip cookie. I love Capriotti's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
Dr. Randy Tobler here, and I know that when you're looking for a dentist, you have to make sure you choose a dental practice that's compatible with you and the needs of your family. Well, I'd like to tell you about my dentist, Dr. Dan Cusimano, and his partner, Megan Dwyer, and their team at Advanced Dentistry at St. Charles. The great team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles can accommodate all of your cosmetic and restorative needs because their passion is general dentistry. Implants, crowns, bridges, even dentures, that what you need the most is what they'll provide in a personalized, focused way. And they can provide therapeutic and cosmetic options like Botox and dermal fillers. Get to know them and all they have to offer by calling 636-978-0226 or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
That's Advanced Dentistry Now, 636-978-0226. Or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
Be cool, honey bunny. Be cool.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Hot Legs, Rod Stewart with St. Louis's own Billy Peak on guitar. And I make a correction. When I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. The last Want to Be Starting Something is not my favorite Michael Jackson song.
I know.
My favorite song is, oh my God, what's it called? Ken?
The other one.
Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. Don't
Right,
Stop
right.
Till You Get, that's my favorite.
Yeah, this was mine. Oh, the last one was mine.
I'm done. I've had it with this. I really have.
Want to be starting something. You got this. Good song.
It will always remind me of that girl. Always, always, always. You know, this wasn't up actually when we had Mark Harder in here, but we're talking about dogs who, had to be euthanized because of the parvovirus in the St. Louis County dog shelter.
Right.
And there's Sally, and there is good old Rudy, who was drawn by Nick Park, I think, right?
I think so.
The guy who drew Wallace
that
and
particular
Gromit.
picture just looks like he should have been.
Does he have something in his mouth?
No, I think it's a scarf maybe or something. I don't know.
because it looks like he's got great big teeth.
I know, but
and a
it's
great
not.
big smile.
It's not. But that is Roo Dog.
Love Rudy.
The Roo Dog, and that's what I call him.
The Roo Dog.
He'll come in and he'll look. He'll hop up on the hassock in the family room, turn around, sit down, and look at me just like that. So and I'll be like, "Well, what do you want, buddy?"
Yep.
And then he'll just stare at me. Just stare.
So funny. All right. Are we ready for a chat box? Yeah, I guess we are. Ken loves to push me around. I don't know if you know that, everybody. We're going to start with Facebook today. And Allison says, good morning. Month double whoosh dry hump day.
Wow.
Whoosh, whoosh.
GMFFBH, whoosh, whoosh. So ready for the people we voted for to get off their ass and do what we elected them to do to support our president, Donald John Grover Cleveland Trump. Okay, I threw in a little bit. And she says, I know. Don't cuss on this here radio. I get it.
Don't you cuss on this here radio.
Good morning. Happy wet hump day. Whoosh.
It is, I guess, technically.
We squeeze in a dry hump day under partly sunny skies.
Mine's out of the gutter. Good whoosh, whoosh morning. And TSTL family and friends. I love this. I swear to God, I love it. No taxpayer dollars should ever go towards sports complexes. You know, I kind of broke it down, Ken. You got your owners who clearly are billionaires, right? Because they can afford to.
And they're going to make a windfall
team.
on that.
The players make pretty good money to play pro
They'll
sports.
make more money, yeah.
And the politicians seem to be able to make plenty of money.
And they're making money. Everybody is.
And they want money from us.
Oh, we're not, though.
Right.
Oh.
But they want our money.
Huh.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Don't make taxpayers pay to have it done for them. That's why they force so much.
Forget about it.
That's why they force so much sports on people, the folks who sit around and watch basic TV programming. Do people even realize they're being programmed to watch sports so that they can be taxed out of their houses, homes, and livelihoods?
That's deep. That is deep.
Over my head, that's for sure. Nuclear or geothermal energy, which is more cost effective, which is safer? I wish we saw this when we were talking to Dr. Cohen, because I can't answer because I'm not smart enough.
Yeah, I wanted to respond to that a little bit because I did online there. But the way nuclear is today, it's extremely safe, and it doesn't. The waste products that come off of that are nothing like the left has been saying for the last decades.
And not to mention the geothermal energy. I don't know about waste on that, but
yeah, I don't know, but I he made a great point. Iceland has been doing fine with geothermal. That's pretty much mostly how they heat their homes.
Good morning, freedom fighters. Why, thank you, Tom. Ken, Robert has an issue with your ADAC thing.
Oh, okay.
You mentioned. He's saying it's one of the Aleutian Islands. He's been there while in the Coast Guard. Is it two different things?
I don't know.
How do you spell your ADAC?
ADAK.
Yeah, that's how you spelled it.
Huh.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's what my sister told me. That's all. I'm only going by what she told me.
We'll call her up.
I'm going to call her. No, you might be right. I don't know. That's what I heard.
How about no real estate tax? Good morning, freedom fighter Bickheads. Hi, Council. Oh, this is Michael Burton. You ready, Michael Burton?
Here we go.
No one should be making opinions about the January 6th committee unless you actually watched the J6 committee. And Ken Williams already said he didn't watch any of it. So how would he know? Okay, Michael, I watched all of it. How about that?
Do you remember me? Do you, Vic, who I talk to every day and you listen every day? Do you remember me saying that I
didn't watch any of it? No, yeah. I don't remember you saying that now that you bring it up.
I'm the one who's being accused of not ever watching or saying I'd never watched it.
Right.
And I don't remember ever saying that.
Right.
So,
he goes on. Michael, he goes on. Most of the things that were presented were videos, emails, and texts from Trump's own family and administration. They presented actual tangible evidence. They had videos of, you know what they didn't show, Michael Burton? Maybe you didn't watch all the January 6th committee, okay? Because you know what they did not show, pal? They didn't show the president saying peacefully and patriotically protest. He didn't say that. They didn't show it. You cannot fight that. You cannot argue with me with that. So stick that up your thing. And I also will die on the hill that Bill Barr testified at that January 6th committee with only seeing the trailer of 2,000 Mules because he was laughing at it. And if you watch that whole 2000 Mules documentary, it's pretty powerful. But Michael Burton doesn't think so, because Michael Burton thinks he's smarter than everybody else when he says, oh, well, why don't you watch the Jay? So, well, I did, okay? I didn't see any defense for President Trump at all, not one little bit. Okay, sorry. 101 straight up in first. Happy hump day, good people. Woosh, woosh, he says.
So I looked up the ADEC Alaska, and it's part of the Aleutian Islands, or the peninsula thing that comes out, right? That's what I said. I didn't realize they were islands.
Well, yeah, but you did say it was the northernmost part of the United States, so you were right.
I meant westernmost.
Sorry, westernmost.
But no, he's right. It's not the northernmost.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
okay.
Westernmost. Yes,
everybody's right. Everybody's good.
Everybody's good.
When Rumble comes on late, it's a crapshoot on who's on first. Well, what's on second?
Right.
Who's on first?
So,
come on, guys, do that. Do the Abbott Costello thing
Yeah.
for me one day when you get in.
Who's on first though? Right.
Yes. Bummer to miss the beginning of the show live. Oh, the beginning of the show live wasn't on. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. No fair election. No fair tariffs.
Nope.
It's time to dust off an old saying. Time for shock and awe. Cutesy time is over. There it is. I knew somebody said it.
Yep.
Today in history, 1942, Battle of the Midway. Thank you so much. We also had somebody else talk about that, and we did recognize it. And we will recognize, by the way, on Friday, D-Day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And thanks for bringing that to our attention about Midway, though. That was great.
Yeah. New be or not the be game. It's a bitch or not a bitch. God, you guys hate us. I swear to God. You just want to get us in trouble.
Well, you said it on the air.
Now, listen, I don't understand
you
this.
just said it. I mean, they're not making you say it. You just did.
Whatever. I don't understand this one. I laugh every time Vic leans forward into the camera. His face looks like one of those greeting cards.
You're mocking me, aren't you?
When do I ever look into the camera?
You did it repeatedly today because you read that.
But
after you read that, you were so obsessed with it that you kept doing that to the camera. I saw you.
What are you saying?
You leaned into the camera. You did exactly what they said you did.
I mean, what are you saying? I obsess?
No. I would never say that.
How dare you?
There was a sports economist named Rish. Yes, there was, in St. Louis. I interviewed him more than once. He used to be on Sports Talk in town as a guest. I think he pretty much said government funding of stadiums didn't pay. He was at Webster U. I mean, when you think about the rich people that are involved in all this, tell them to get the money.
Yeah.
What the hell you got to get it from us for?
Well, I don't get it. Well, here's what I don't get. If Green Bay, Wisconsin can do this thing where they all get a share, everybody gets a share, then why can't we just do that?
It's so crazy that the New York Giants, Los Angeles Rams, Dallas Texans, Dallas Cowboys, all these big towns, and Green Bay, Minnesota, Green Bay Packers,
right.
You know, this tiny town of Green Bay
right.
has one of the most successful franchises in the NFL.
Yeah.
Okay. But boy, it gets cold up there.
It sure does.
The frozen tundra of Lambeau Field.
I wouldn't want to go anywhere that was named the frozen tundra.
Exactly right. I figure it's a way for them to try to suck money out of my pockets that I refuse to spend with them because I don't want to mortgage my house to take my family to a game. That's another point. You want us to pay for the stadium, and then you suck us dry for a beer and a hot dog.
Right.
Forget about it.
You know, that's a great point. We might even consider it if they had $1 hot dog day or $1 beer day.
Just don't do 10-cent beer night. Remember 10-cent beer night? I think it was in Cleveland at the Indians. Oh, my God. Yeah. Whoosh, whoosh. Wind and solar can pound sand. Iceland uses geothermal for a majority of their power.
Just about all, yeah. Yeah.
That geothermal story is full of hot air.
That was good.
Who knew the Tony the Tiger was so smart? He's great. Correct. I love Dr. Bonner Cohen. How do teachers, professors trust any paper a student writes today when all they have to do is input a lot of points and AI will write it for them? What quality students will graduate?
Okay, the problem they run into there, and I think I did talk to somebody who was a junior high school teacher, And I asked the question. I said, you're going to start getting some really smart kids coming out of this with AI, right?
Yeah.
And she said, no, this is how we know. We know what all overall juniors are going to be writing. And if someone comes in with an AI version of that, that's not going to pass the smell test, so to speak.
They did not add in the bad guy factor.
No, they didn't, Vic. I think you're right about that.
Nobody has added in the bad guy factor.
In fact,
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right about that.
I'll be damned. AI should be able to assist research in medicine. When you go to the doctor now, he'll have his cell phone and he'll say, "Do you mind if I record our conversation here?" And they put it down, and then the AI takes all that information, throws out the stuff. Well, how you doing? Oh, doing fine, going to school, whatever. They take all that out, and then they just put a summary of what you talked to your doctor about.
When you said that earlier, it surprised me. I'd never heard that.
Mm-hmm. Brand new technology that is not added in the bad guy factor. AI is scary. It could eliminate the need for education. We will develop idiocy. That's what you were just talking about kids doing their homework with AI instead of their own brains.
Oh, yeah.
If I were a teacher, I'd be tempted to make students write the paper in class so I can monitor. There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
That's the answer.
Yeah.
It's not homework. It's now work. Do it. And if I had more time, I'd be more brief. It's raining, but it's still a dry hump day. Whoosh, whoosh. It seems like a wet day.
Whoosh, whoosh.
A percentage of ownership should go with stadium funding. Absolutely. As a professional retiree, I think my industry needs some of that free money. He's making fun of people here.
But I know on that thing you just said there, though, that we joke about it, but that's true. That if they're going to get it like that, if the billionaires are going to get it, and the politicians and everybody else, we need it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else needs it for their little corner of the world.
Mm-hmm. Does handwriting even still count in school curriculum?
I hope it does, because I'm a big advocate. You know I am, Vic, about handwriting. I think handwriting script is an art form that we should never lose.
Not just an art form, but pretty soon kids are not going to be able to read the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution of the United States.
It's true.
Which are all written in cursive.
If you're a parent, if you plan to be a parent, say you're young enough now to where you're thinking about kids, make it one of your goals in life. You may not be teaching your kids all about math and all that stuff.
Right.
Teach them script. Teach them how to use script lettering. I think they'll benefit from it.
I couldn't agree with you more. Right on, Tim. Somebody said right on for our Speaker of the House. Speaking of sports, Florida Panthers, just saying. Don't know what that means. It's a sloppy hump day. Childless cat lady. That's Sandra says there's.
We in these hot ass streets, honey.
There's a saying, each sow should eat at its own slop trough. Cow, maybe? Team owners should eat at their own trough, not taxpayers. It's so ridiculous. Not only do you want me to pay for the stadium, but then you don't even give me a beer for free, for God's sakes. Lordy, I haven't heard the term slop trough in a long time. Oh, they raise pigs. So Sal was right. I'm sorry, I was wrong. They lay in the mud to keep bugs off. Baby pigs are adorable. Great, let's cut them up and eat them. Vic, can you do Jerry Lewis? Lady, I know how to do a little Jerry Lewis here and there. Yep, so do dairy farmers and chicken farmers. Oh, my God. Have we ever had more than 13 pigs? Okay, this is way too farming for me. It's over my head. This is like my first night in St. Louis when a commercial came on and a guy said, "When I burn down a no-till, I use Roundup." I was like, holy cow, what did that guy just say?
I better get me some Roundup.
Ken saying you have a great face for radio, Vic.
I don't know if I ever said that.
I don't know. I think you might have.
No, I don't think I did.
Okay. Thank you so much for having the record player on at night. Listen to us this morning.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
That's it. 3 Martini Lunch is next with a guy named Jamie Allman.
The award-winning show.
Award-winning Missouri Broadcaster Award-winning show, Jamie Allman. Common Sense Radio. Kenny and I will see you tomorrow at 9 on News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Whoosh, whoosh.
Hi, it's Chris Arps, and I've been a customer of Royal Banks of Missouri for many years. They are a full-service, locally owned and operated community bank with 17 locations throughout the St. Louis area, including locations in Hannibal, Jerseyville, Granite City, as well as 2 locations in St. Charles. Royal Banks offers Missouri a full range of financial services covering all of your personal and business banking needs, as well as access to over 200 ATM locations. Royal Banks of Missouri also offers convenient interactive teller machines that will connect you with a banker virtually and in real time, available at all their branch locations, and those are open weekdays from 8 to 7 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturdays. Plus, given today's headlines in the overall banking industry, it is reassuring to know Royal Banks Missouri has the highest financial ratings in St. Louis for stability and strength. That's Royal Banks Missouri, the community bank for your community. Visit them on the web at royalbanksofmo.com.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. 3 big hours of great tunes from the 90s, 80s, and 70s. Plus bits and pieces that'll take you back to the best years of your past.
It's the 50th anniversary of the release